Good morning and welcome to another edition of the exciting morning update. Today is Friday.
It's Friday. I like Fridays.
I do.
At least you have some rest. You are not going to wake up at dawn.
I know.
3 a.m.
3 a.m. Oh, Lord,
you
have
wake
mercy.
up at 3 and you still feel you are late.
If you wake up even a minute after 3, you know that something is going to go on. You will be late at some point in time.
It's strange. You can sleep at 1 a.m. and the body seems to be used to.
Yes, as
you
I
don't
just
have an alarm
said.
clock, but
Yes.
your body wakes you up.
It wakes you up.
And
oh
you
my
need,
God.
you need to follow the discipline.
Hey, but on Fridays we get to sleep beyond that time. That is why we are excited.
Yes, of course.
Whenever it's Friday. But also tomorrow is 6th of March and is Independence Day. Tomorrow is the day Ghana attained independence from colonial rule.
When I was young, days before 6th March, maybe because of coronavirus, but I've monitored this trend over the years. It looks like the steam associated with our Independence Day
is gradually
gone.
going down.
It's not gradually, it's gone. When I was young, you could see that maybe the first week of March, wherever you go, you hear drumming.
Yes.
Because every school is practicing how to march.
Yes.
And it's not really about the marching, but it's about the euphoria that ushers in.
If your school makes it to the independence,
yes, and
it's one of the best schools.
And parents go to school parks or stadiums or any available space to watch their kids dressed white socks,
black
your best shoe.
And they iron. I remember my mom used to iron my dress with starch.
Starch.
Yes.
And you see the lines.
Hey.
And that is when you see various skills in terms of the matching.
Yeah.
And
that's eyes right.
And so on. You know,
but I never made it
right,
though.
I looked at your hair. Several years ago, I had this type of hair. And we had this type of comb, which looked like an Afro comb. And I used to comb my hair and then
you leave it in?
No, we had something we call punk. Pack here and then raise the top. And then we had something we called bad bush. And those days, if you have money, you buy a certain cream for spotting waves. I used to be a nice man.
Oh, but you're still a nice man.
God has reduced me to where...
No. I disagree. God doesn't reduce. It's your baba.
Well, good morning. I hope you are happy at home. This is Morning Update on TV XYZ. What do you remember when you were young? I have told you mine. But I'm sure, send me some exciting moments when you were young as we prepare to celebrate our Independence Day.
Yeah, now in commemoration to our Independence Day, I was with, I don't know if you know this man, Herman Hesse. They call him the Bill Gates of Africa. And basically what he does is once in a while he organizes his friends, and then so you meet people from all walks of life. That's where I actually met one of the female pilots that flies Passion, Sheila. So we were talking about independence because there were people from all different countries, and there was this misconception that the people that were left behind were being ruled as slaves as well, which is something that I want to correct. Herman actually corrected them, but I feel like if they are thinking that way, there are people out there who actually think that way as well. So the system in here was indirect rule. They were ruling through the chiefs. So the chiefs, to a certain extent, still had some form of authority. So if they wanted to implement certain policies, they would go to the chiefs, whisper to them, and then if the chiefs wanted something in return, which was the barter, they do that, and then the chiefs implement the rules. So it was never like that.
I don't know whether it was bribery at that time, but I'll be taking the weather report. When we come back, we'll look into our newspapers, and the show will continue.
Yes.
Welcome back. This is Morning Update. Today is the 5th day of March. I want to welcome you to our show from now. Today we are ending at 9:30. It's packed and we want you to be part of the show. Don't forget the numbers. I always remind you 0556 and what?
999. I like saying them. 999.
It rhymes. The front pages are reporting what happened at the Supreme Court.
Yes.
A smiling, affirmed President Nana Akufo-Addo is captured on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper, and it says, Akufo-Addo duly elected president. Supreme Court affirms as it unanimously throws out Mahama's challenge. And I disagree with Supreme Court judgment, but NDC is bound by it. This is captured to reflect the press conference held by then candidate John Dramani Mahama. And it says, ongoing nationwide vaccination exercise. We are ready to handle medical waste at all times. Zoom Park assures. Let me share with you how it appeared on the front page of the Ghanaian Times newspaper. So there it is. There it is. And then tough task for Odate Lamptey leads Elmina Sharks against Kotoko is the sports story on the back page. And stakeholders call for hepatitis B, malaria testing guidelines. So look at the back page of the Ghanaian Times. That's how it is. Before Abner comes in with the daily graphic, I move to the center spread. Ghana at 64, the opportune time to uproot youth unemployment.
Before I talk about my paper, you did mention hepatitis B, and so it reminded me of Health Alert Clinic. They actually conduct the hepatitis B test for free, so you can walk in there and get yourself tested. The daily graphic on the front page is actually very similar to the Ghanaian Times, considering that the Supreme Court issue has been a major one where everybody have been following, especially that of yesterday. Now it says here that Akufo-Addo affirmed precedent. Supreme Court says petition is without merit, which was something we kept hearing over and over again, and that is why most people have said the ruling didn't come to them as a shock. Now Mahama is also saying, I disagree, and then Parliament okays 13 ministers, including Kojo Oppong Nkrumah. Congratulations, I guess, in order to...
So let me quickly do two papers before Abner comes in with more. The Daily Dispatch on its front page says, Supreme Court rejects election petition. And I have the pictures of Chief Justice Enini Yeboah, Jean Mensa, John Dramani Mahama, and President Nana Akufo-Addo, and how Wache and Tuo Zafi got their names. Interesting. That's what the Daily Dispatch is reporting. And Rojo and Pesa White testimonies were fanciful. That's what the Daily Dispatch is reporting. But actually, it is part of the ruling, as Justice Enini Yeboah spent almost 2 hours to read. 2 hours. I believe it's all the ruling he preferred to present before the court, and then endorsed the 2020 presidential elections. Yeah. He also said Johnson Asiedu Nketia attempted to convince the court, but the NDC disagrees that what the Supreme Court actually presented in its ruling was a misrepresentation of the full details of what Johnson Asiedu Nketia told the court. Abner, what do you have?
The Herald. It says that Supreme Court judges embarrassingly stained justice delivery and electoral system. Now, John Mahama fires unanimous 7. Also, Akufo-Addo looking for Ken Ofori-Attah's replacement. And then it says that CID investigator on Opuni trial in corruption drama.
I have the Inquisitor newspaper. It says Jubilee House unmasked. Deal was cooked by bigger fishes. And then Kokobo trial, CID witness makes more shocking confessions. And then NDC voter diaspora caucus show love to couple who lost 4 kids. So that's it. The Inquisitor newspaper.
The Chronicle. So on the court, it says it's all over. Akufo-Addo and Akufo-Addo 7, Mahama 0. And then Mahama responds to that. He says, I disagree with the process and judgment. Also, NDC leadership in power is a failure coming from Sami Jemfi. You have more?
Yeah, there are exciting stories in the papers, and most of the time we make reference to what is on the front page. That is the editor's choice to sell the newspapers. But if you go to page 11 of the Ghanaian Times, there's a story here that has been on the table for years. I remember the Constitutional Review Committee has made an attempt to address this some time ago.
Right.
And then we know several conversations have come up. IEA, CDD, IDEG have also raised it severally. Now, Professor Gyimah Boadi is quoted here as saying that the 1992 Constitution must be amended to curb the president's powers. I just want to read a few paragraphs because though people are aware of this conversation, it's worthy of following. And of course, this is making reference to Gyimah Boadi, who is at the CDD. He said it at CDD's event in Accra, and I want to quote a few paragraphs. It says, secondly, we have got also to change the culture of Ghana. We have to significantly mend our ways, and one of the ways to do that, as history has shown over the years, is to have citizens who have real sense of duty. Professor Gyimah Boadi explained that duty meaning the willingness to pay your taxes, being available for your national service if the nation needs you, making yourself available for voting if you have to vote, making sacrifices, bringing a balance to this idea that you can have citizenship without obligation. So these are part of the statement or the address he made. Then he goes ahead to talk about the need to review the powers of the president. And in summary, he felt that the president is so powerful that sometimes they extend their powers to how institutions of state, which are supposed to be independent, should operate. And he was speaking at an event organized to eulogize the late former president, Jerry John Rawlings. Abraham.
Yes, I saw something here very quickly on health. I know that there are some sickle cell patients in the system, and according to the Daily Graphic, it says that sickle cell patients have risk of losing their vision from bleeding and other complications inside the eyeball. So periodic screenings are very important, and it's advised that you don't wait till it's too late.
Today is Friday.
Yes.
I like talking about Waakye. It's my favorite.
These days I'm holding on.
Oh no, don't worry. People say Tuwo Zaafi is their favorite.
Waakye is my favorite.
I will go for Waakye. I like Akpele, but Tuwo Zaafi to
you
me
like
too
what?
soft. Akpele. That's the actual.
I know.
It's not Akpele.
I know.
People say Akpele. It's not Akpele. It's Akpele.
Akpele.
You see the way it sounds through my nose.
Yeah, it actually sounds sexy that way. Okay.
It says Waakye is a favorite dish for most people in Ghana. And then Waakye is actually truncated version of the word Chinkafia de Waakye. I don't know if is that
Shinkafa.
What?
Shinkafa.
Which is the Hausa word for rice and beans. Over time, this shortened word has become known as Waakye.
Waakye.
Is it Waakye or?
It's Waakye.
That it appears weak.
I get it. But it's Waakye. I like Waakye until my experience recently. So I'm just giving it a little time before I go back.
Now, okay, Abena, you want to say something?
Before we appreciate our sponsors. There have been a lot of loyal viewers giving me comments and contributing to the show and telling me that if you don't give me shout outs today, you are in trouble. So just a few people. I have a little girl celebrating her birthday. Kayla, happy birthday to you. And also the Dawn Lives On, what's the name? Dinah. Thank you also for the support. Please, I can't remember. It's like taking an award. In that moment, you forget the names, and then they tell you didn't mention my name. But please, I know all those that have been watching and contributing. If I'm not able to mention your name, please forgive me. But thank you for the support.
And yesterday, one of our producers,
I didn't know he was that romantic.
Chuku, his wife, it was his wife's birthday, and he wrote a long text.
Yes.
I'll read it. But we want to tell you, madam, happy birthday. Yesterday, I believe you were watching us and expecting that because your husband is the producer, he has control over the show, and he could have missed you. In fact, he gave it to me. I'm older than this man, but he said, Charlie Massa, my wife, they watch the thing, and from 6:30 to 9:30, you know, if you mention a name, I beg you, madam. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Related.
Yes.
I can't read what your husband talk.
It's very
but
romantic.
we will go listen to the business and health tidbits. When we come back, I will read your text. Welcome back. This is Morning Update on TVXYZ, Wizard TV. You know where to catch us, Facebook, YouTube, and your TV channels, satellite or digital. This morning, the Clote Korle Health Directorate, I think it's the Municipal or Metropolitan Health Directorate, I'm not too sure, but I think it's the Metropolitan Health Directorate, will be joining us. The COVID-19 vaccination exercise is going on very well. At the point, I'm hearing complaints that people are scrambling and they are rather blaming the health authorities for poor planning. Somebody called me from Kumasi that people are now even crossing over from one jurisdiction to the other to try to jump the queue to get their vaccination. It's good news because before that, there was skepticism whether Ghanaians will welcome it. Go for it. They'll be joining us today to help us to understand the rollout plan and, of course, what you need to understand about this vaccine.
Yes.
We also intend playing the address by former President John Dramani Mahama. It's very instructive.
I'm sorry, not to cut you, but because you spoke about health, I wanted to quickly take us through what one of our sponsors do, which is Health Alert Clinic. Now, basically, Health Alert Clinic uses herbal medicine to cure certain chronic diseases like hypertension, stroke, numbness, and also waist pains, muscle pains with machine treatment. They also treat ulcer, prostate cancer, menstrual problems, burning sensation in the foot and body, chronic body pains, waist and body pains. It also cures typhoid, bad cholesterol, gonorrhea, syphilis, and dizziness, white. And if you cannot sleep, you can go to Health Alert Clinic and they will check you out as well. I'm sure you read through the health tidbits we gave out there, and one of the things that tells you are depressed, especially at work, is when you cannot sleep or you feel very irritable, you easily get angry and things like that. Just visit Health Alert Clinic or rest. When you go there, and there's a need for them to keep advising you, they'll keep checking up on you, as Eric has been stating all the time. Or you can also call them on 0242 518893 or 0242 518865. Let's go herbal.
It's not enough. What about this?
X natural mineral water all the way. It has the most It's like today the word sexy is
say it.
he has the sexiest bottle ever.
It's not common.
It's not.
It's one in
it's
time.
Not.
And if you look at it, in fact, it tells you how clean the water is.
Oh yes.
Assurance.
And it tastes as nice.
The packaging sweet. And I believe that it's good to serve on tables, especially if your granny,
you didn't know,
you are doing outdooring for your babies. You know, people like to do something whitish and so on.
Birthday.
And birthdays. In fact,
I owe you
that's
water.
beyond what you can serve at your corporate offices and so on.
Yes.
We are proud that they are also helping us to bring you our programs on TV XYZ. I told you that we'll also be playing back the presentation yesterday by John Dramani Mahama, which will be part of our newspaper review segment, because he went to court. He was the complainant, and he has lost the court case. And Nana Akufo-Addo is now our president, as declared by the Supreme Court. And what has been his reaction yesterday? Everybody was waiting to hear what he will say. If you missed it last night, it is going to be back on this program. What else are we doing today, Abena?
Yes, so today, as always, I like calling the man's name Wisdom. Hede Jome will bring us details of some of the headlines that we have discussed. He has been following the proceedings. He has been going to court. And so he will give us inside details of what was happening. Actually, still on that matter, yesterday, a man lost his life at the Supreme Court.
Yes, it's a sad story. I think it will be part of our news.
Yes.
You will see the body being
put into the pickup.
Police pickup. Now, I have the birthday message.
Hey, a romantic producer.
It says, happy birthday to the most beautiful woman on earth, my sweetheart and better half, Miss Mary Mensah of Impact Cosmopolitan Church, Amasaman, Macedonia down. You are such a wonderful queen. This is from your sweetheart, Okechukwu Innocent, as your son. Is it Chiboy or Chinago or whatever? Okay, we are celebrating you. That was yesterday because you deserve it. Happy birthday.
Beautiful.
We love you. They say when men become stubborn, we diboniana birthday no can send the day actually. Happy birthday. Your friend is saying Mary Mensah. We are proud of you. Keep supporting your husband because he's going through a lot of stress. That one I can tell you. When we come back, Wisdom Hede Jome will bring you the news.
The average human body mass should have at least 60% water for optimal performance in any physical or mental exercise. We can help you maintain it naturally. X Natural Mineral Water. Simply natural. Peace of mind is very essential in your journey to success. For Akwesi Papa, peace of mind means having a proper covering over his family. Literally. For Araba, aka Injection Mama, it's about having the funds to complete her advanced nursing course. And as for Corporal Odami, it's as simple as reporting on time for his shifts. Sometimes all you need is a simple push. At Needs Microfinance, we have tailor-made loan packages for salaried workers under the Controller General's Department. With the low interest rate and quick wahala-free process, you are guaranteed of a timely solution to get back that peace of mind, literally in 30 minutes. Needs Microfinance. Growing with you.
Welcome back to the morning update on TV XYZ. My name is Nana Abena Sewa. I have been doing this with Eric Ahianyo, but in this moment, I am doing it with Wisdom.
It's Friday.
Yes.
And Monday is a holiday.
Yes.
Good morning to you.
Good morning to you too.
How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
I like your kaftan. But what do you have for us?
So I'll be telling you about the Supreme Court's affirmation of Akufo-Addo blaming NDC for its oaths. Also, I'll be telling you about elated MPP lawyers who are calling on Ghanaians to accept the verdict of the court to allow governance to continue in the name of peace and democracy. And then there are suggestions that Dr. Bawumia may read or may present the 2021 budget statement to Parliament, and that is raising a lot of concerns about the health of the Finance Minister designate Ken Ofori-Atta as well. And then, John Mahama has rejected the petition, the outcome of that petition by the Supreme Court yesterday. So I'll be giving you details of all of these and other stories.
All right, take us away, Wisdom.
Many thanks for your company this morning. And as projected, the Supreme Court has, in another unanimous decision, affirmed EC presidential result, affirming Nana Akufo-Addo's re-election. Chief Justice Kwesi Enin-Yeboah, in his ruling on behalf of the panel, said while the petitioner failed to justify their case, two of their witnesses, Rojo Meto-Nunu and Dr. Kpese White, must be blamed for their woes.
The court was packed. The petitioner, clanked by top executives of the NDC, lead counsel Chachuchi Kata, sat patiently as the Chief Justice spent exactly 2 hours reading the unanimous ruling. Also present were the MPP campaign chairman and other party executives and their lawyers. The court in its ruling said the petitioner failed to adduce any credible evidence to support his claims that no candidate obtained the 50% mark. Justice Enin-Yeboah also explained that claims of vote padding was not significant enough and insisted candidate Nana Akufo-Addo crossed the 50% mark as declared on December 9, giving further reasons to back their decision. The court said of the 3 witnesses who testified on behalf of the petitioner John Mahama, only NDC General Secretary Johnson Esiedu Inketia made relevant contributions. It cited evidence adduced by Dr. Kpese White and Rojo Meto-Nunu as very weak, unconvincing, concluding that the NDC must blame itself by abandoning their role in the strong room. The Chief Justice subsequently dismissed the petition.
This judgment by emphasizing that the petitioner did not demonstrate in any way how the alleged errors and unilateral corrections made by the first respondent affected the validity of the declaration made by the chairperson of the first respondent on the 9th December 2020 as already stated in this judgment. The petitioner has not produced any evidence to rebut the presumption created by the publication of CI 135 for which his action must fail. We have therefore no reason to order a rerun as prayed by the petitioner as in relief F. We accordingly dismiss the petition as having no merit.
As the court pleases.
Now, National Chairman of the NPP popped champagne as their lawyers addressed the media after the verdict. Meanwhile, Frank Davis, one of the lead counsel for the second respondent, says the Ghanaian must respect the ruling in the name of peace and national unity. Listen.
Justices are human beings, we are fallible. But when they decide on a matter, that obviously should bring that matter to an end. There are other means of challenging their verdict, that is, if the petitioner is willing to do so. But we pray that Ghanaians should accept the rendition of the Supreme Court in the supreme interest of justice, so that governance of the country can continue in these challenging times of the economic vision of the world. We have COVID to confront with.
So, like many other Ghanaians, President Akufo-Addo and his vice, Dr. Bawumia, were glued to their set while watching the verdict. And this was their reaction after the final verdict.
As expected, Ghanaians were glued to their set, though many anticipated the verdict. At the presidency, both Nana Akufo-Addo, his vice, and some of his staff were equally glued to TV, monitoring live proceedings at the president's office. In the widely shared video on social media, Bawumia is seen walking to the president, takes a bow in respect to congratulate him. Though there was no sign of wild jubilation, the room was full of smiles and clapping.
Iwan Nana-Addo has been reacting to the ruling on Thursday. He wrote on Facebook, says, on Thursday, 4th March 2021, the Supreme Court, in a unanimous ruling, affirmed my victory in the presidential election of 7 December 2020. We still stay with the election issues, and the NDC has rejected the 2020 petition ruling. Former President John Mahama, who addressed a news conference last night, said, quote, no one who followed the proceedings of the Supreme Court will be surprised by the judgment pronounced.
For the avoidance of that, I say, much as I'm aware that we are legally bound by the decisions of the Supreme Court, I disagree with the process of the trial and the ruling of the court. Ladies and gentlemen, our 1992 Constitution says very directly in Article 125, Section 1, that justice emanates from the people and shall be administered in the name of the Republic by the judiciary, which shall be independent and subject only to this Constitution. I believe that law should not be an instrument for partisan purposes. I also believe that the rule of law should mean one rule for all. What anchors the rule of law is equality and fairness to all, irrespective of creed, background, or political coloration. Justice, we must remember, is rooted in moral foundations.
Now, Mr. Mahama, who commended his legal team for their resilience in spite of clear manifestation of frustration, they remained steadfast, and well-meaning Ghanaians now know why the EC was aided to evade public scrutiny.
Ghanaians will also remember, and this will go into history, this 2021 election petition for that profound moment when the chairperson of the Electoral Commission opted to evade public scrutiny. Everything was done in this trial to prevent the Commission from accounting to the people in whose name they hold office. Requests for interrogatories were dismissed. A request for inspection of documents in the possession of the Commission was turned down. The request for admission of facts was ignored. And worse still, she was aided by her counsel and the court to avoid explaining to the good people of Ghana from her own testimony under oath in a properly constituted court of law the errors that she herself admits to have committed in the declaration of the 2020 presidential election results.
And Mr. Mahama feared the bad precedent set may influence other institutional heads, but says the NDC will remain committed to fight to protect the public interest. In conclusion, Mr. Mahama called on members to remain resolute, assuring that the NDC will survive and prosperity will judge all.
I say to you, do not despair at this outcome. And I repeat, do not despair. Never, ever lose hope. We achieved an impressive showing in the last election. And despite the intimidation, the obscene abuse of incumbency advantage, and the massive use of state funds and resources, we can be proud that we gave it our best. Our achievement has become a stepping stone on which the NDC can build to secure victory in the next elections. The NDC will survive and grow from strength to strength. The sun may have set on our hopes for the just ended election today, but it will rise again tomorrow and it will illuminate our paths to a better outcome the next time round.
Present at that news conference were the running mate of the NDC, Professor Gina Opoku-Agyeman, national executive, formal appointees of the party, and other top officials. Now, the morning update will bring you a full playback of that press conference held yesterday. Now, as expected, NDC supporters were angry. Some were venting their anger on saboteurs within the party. Hear them.
Supreme Court judgment, in fact, is very, very strange judgment. We don't understand how they came by this judgment. So that has made me very, very unhappy. And I think I'm not alone. Most Ghanaians are not happy about this judgment of today.
Now we know the people we are going to deal with. So next time, when we are going to meet them, now that we've seen that we are thief, we too will prepare ourselves and meet them 2024.
If you also remove a party, or send a drama, I'm in a way, but if you don't want to you want there, what destroy, nobody can destroy John Dramani Mama. He is going back again. He won the election, but that electoral commission, so-called Jemensa or what, I don't know the name well, but everything is God. We have lived it, but next time, it will not come like that.
Angry supporters of the NDC there. Now, still on relations to the issues regarding the ruling yesterday, our news monitored on other portals suggests a man died at the Supreme Court as the judges wrapped up their judgment yesterday. Images shared on social media with credit to Accra-based Star FM show an unidentified body in a bath being wheeled out of the Supreme Court premises. The man is said to have collapsed while the second respondent spokesperson were addressing the media. He was reportedly rushed to the Supreme Court First Aid Department but died shortly afterwards. The starfm.com.gh video shows a police pickup picked up to convey the remains of the man to the police mortuary. The police hospital mortuary. Now, it has, however, not been established if his death is related to the verdict. Let's do some other stories now. And the streets of Accra were quiet, contrary to expectations that the MPP supporters will pour out on the street in jubilation. Now, TVX Swaza News has learnt many sensitive installations across the country have since been under heavy protection. Many of those who spoke to TVX Swaza News say they were not surprised because the signs were clear on the walls.
The former president to forget everything, can start everything fresh. Maybe 2024 we can come back to rule the nation. Because we are one people, one nation.
We were all here when most of the cases being advanced by the petitioner were being rejected here and there. They were not grounded in law, as the justices were saying. And the moment they begin to even interrogate the counsel for the petitioner, you would realize that the ruling will go in a certain direction.
Witness, when Shedin Katia entered in the witness box, he made a statement that he was being asked by lawyer Akoto Ampao that what figure did Nana Akufo-Addo get, and what figure did Mahama get, and what was the general figure that was this thing. He was not able to answer. He said he didn't bring that figure at the court, right? They didn't bring that figure because so due to me, I knew very well. I based on that statement that he made that no, it won't go well for them.
Now, TVX as a news has learned on the situation was not different in Kumasi. Activities within the Central Business District, especially Kejetia, Edum, Bantama, as far as Asawase, were normal. Now, skeptics, irrespective of the verdict, say the heightened polarization may affect Nana Akufo-Addo's second term. Analysts pray investor confidence will bounce back, but say that will be dependent on the posture of stakeholders. Ordinary Ghanaians who say they are losing confidence in the political class say they may have to take their own destinies into their hands.
You pray the person to work against you. No, it won't happen. You understand? It won't happen. So if you are illiterate, a Mokala woman, a person who will understand this. You know, it's funny. What they are doing is funny.
We have to, as in demonstrate and get on the street and, be on our feet because this is our country, There's nothing really going on. Our leaders are there doing this, doing that. Nothing comes out, nothing goes down. So we need to wake up as a youth.
Once I believe that personally I can cause a change, I want to also believe that there are others within our society who can also cause changes, right? There are other jurisdictions. If you read the history of America, you read the history of India, very often it's one name you cite that they caused so much change and affected millions of people.
And so we'll end the bulletin with some business stories and news that Vice President Dr. Bawumia is likely to read the 2021 budget statement next week is raising eyebrows. While this may be the first, as many could have loved to hear him, others are worried about the finance minister designate who is in the US for post-COVID-19 related complications.
Finance Minister designate Ken Ofori-Atta left Ghana on Sunday, February 14th to the U.S. for medical treatment of what his office said was post-coronavirus complications. His trip sparked rumors amid social media reports about his demise, but that was quickly debunked with a picture of him seated after his arrival at Delta Airline. The statement said he was going to be away for 2 weeks, but critics said he was running away from the appointments committee, which was originally scheduled to vet him on February 16th, asking leadership to reject any proposal for that to be done virtually. In his excuse letter to Parliament, he assured them he will be available for vetting upon his arrival after 2 weeks, but that may not happen before March 12, when the budget is to be presented before Parliament. There is no word about his health condition and if he is recuperating. But the president, who has appointed the caretaker minister, Charles Edubuahin, who was deputy to Mr. Ofori-Atta, has served Parliament notice the vice president or trade minister, Alan Tremanting, will do the presentation. The leader of the majority caucus disclosed this to the House on Tuesday. TVXYZ News will keep you updated.
And that'll be it for this morning's edition of News in Brief or Morning Update with me, Wisdom Hedejime. As always, do log on to myxyzonline.com for more. Nana Abena Sewa has their next session on Morning Update. Nana,
yes, thank you, Wisdom Hedejime, for such good work. Now, that was the News in Brief on the Morning Update on TVXYZ. We'll take a quick break. When we come back, we'll discuss COVID-19 and vaccination.
Ifo kra na menyisika edia ye mefui.
Ehinfa pa na menya bosia edia tre medwuma yimu.
Kai kra mabre menye bosia ato taxi fufu. Suhum Rural Bank.
Suhum Rural Bank.
Yemamwa kwa baba Suhum Rural Bank. Ye won hyehyɛ ahodo bi te sɛ dwadifo abosia, ekokro bosia, susu account, eni da so wɔ hɔ savings account, me bada chain savings account, ene de akeka ho. Suhum Rural Bank was 034229186. Na won so wetumi aka sɛ
Suhum Rural Bank ama ene mayeka una.
Suhum Rural Bank enti me pa minie.
Suhum Rural Bank, growing our heritage.
Welcome to AutoCheck Vehicle Diagnostic and Licensing Center.
I hear my car can be checked here without going to so many hour crash.
Sure.
Check, auto checks, check, auto checks, check.
Emission, check,
auto checks.
Alignment, check.
Auto checks, auto checks.
Brakes, check.
Visit AutoChecks at Koforidua Aquadrum Road for the roadworthiness of your vehicle.
from saloon cars to heavy-duty industrial vehicles. Madam, your car is now ready for the road.
Thank you so much. Auto checks. Auto checks. Check.
Auto checks. Your safety, our priority.
Check. Auto checks.
Welcome back to the morning update. My name is Nana Abinasewa. Now we've gotten to our social issues segment where we discuss issues that concerns you and me as well. Now today, one of the topics we are discussing has to do with COVID-19 vaccination, and one of the health centers that have been administering the vaccine have got their promoters in the studio to discuss the nitty-gritties of what is happening at the health centers and what we need to know before and after taking the jab. Good morning, gentlemen. Okay, so I'm actually not privy to who is who, but I know that you're Amani, I'm sure. Yeah. Okay, I got it right. And then I have on my extreme left
Ishmael.
Nice to have you gentlemen in the studio, and thank you for the good work you're doing for the nation.
Thank you.
Before we get into the discussions, have you had your jabs?
Yes.
You have?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, before even the jabs came into the country, we did hear about the 24-hour, 48-hour, should I say complications, for lack of a better word, that you may or may not experience after the vaccine. Did you experience any at all?
Oh, yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
Can you, please, let me start with Mr. Abani. Can you take us through what you experienced after the vaccination?
I had a slight pains at the vaccination site.
Okay.
And then slight headache.
That was all you had,
yes,
within
please.
the 48-hour stipulated period they gave us. Okay, now Ishmael, what did you also experience after taking the jab?
Yeah, first of all, let me greet your viewers. I think, as you said, when you're about to start the vaccination, there are so many issues that were going on around, but you took our time to explain everything to the general public. That's what we will be feeling when we take the vaccine. For me personally, when I took mine, I had some sleepless night on that day. That was the first day, and I had slight headache, and I was very weak small. So, and I know it's normal.
Could you please raise your voice for me a bit?
Okay. I know it's normal when we take the vaccine, and as we are going on to the case, we always come out into those symptoms,
right.
Or that's when you take the vaccine, what you experience, and it is normal in every vaccine that you take.
Right. Now, as we are still talking about complications, so far, have we had any severe complications from any of the persons that have taken the jab?
For now, dear, I can say no.
Okay.
We've never had a report to that effect. So those people that we vaccinated, they came with side effects as alluded by Ishmael.
Okay.
That is the headache, slight headache, and then body pains. Body pains. So those were the reports that came to us.
Right.
As from the time that we started the vaccination.
Okay. So on education, which people for now are eligible to take in the jab? I think I'll let Ishmael take that.
All right. As we have been saying, that the vaccines are coming in batches, and we have divided the population into 3 or 4. So this first one that we started from Tuesday and we end on Monday.
Okay.
Those who are eligible to take it are the frontline executives, that is the presidency and before the presidency, the health workers, people with underlying health condition from 18 years and above who are having some complications. It's only for those who are having underlying complications who can take it from 18 years and above. But those are the 60 years and above, they are also eligible to take this first consignment. 50 years and above, it doesn't matter whether you are eligible or not. Frontline judicial workers, because it's not all those who are more direct into contact with the people, and also the security agencies who are direct in contact with the people, they are also taken. So, and the teachers are about 50 years, because this one we just have to select some, those who are more at risk. So teachers are about 50 years are also eligible to take.
Okay. Now, in the Korle Klottey constituency, which is where your health facility is situated, which districts fall under your umbrella?
We have sub-municipals. We have Osu, we have North Ridge, we have Adabraka, we have Tamale Station and part of Tudu up to CMB and Salam Down area. Those are our catchment areas.
Okay.
Yes, we work within Osu and other where even SYZ, I think.
So I can come there as well and take it. Or I have to be a resident here.
You know, the media, I think the media are not part of this first consignment.
Okay.
Yes, but I think on the first day we visited Jiaji.
Okay.
On that place, so they took some, but in some cases, some of the media goes out to do interviews and other things. So if in that category, you may consider then give.
Okay. Now this is in passing because it's a question that has been bothering on my mind for some time now. The foreigners that are in the country, what is going to happen with them?
As for the foreigners, I think they categorize some group of people. In fact, they are all part of vaccination exercise. Yeah, this first one is only some international, some protocol.
Yeah.
Those they are eligible to take this first one.
Okay.
But foreigners are allowed to take vaccines.
Okay.
Here, but this first consignment, I think it's only few who are included in the first few. But the subsequent ones, they are also, because if they are at risk, the country is better. Because if you discriminate them, it's your own people that they are going to infect. So you have to vaccinate them.
Right. I'm coming to Mr. Amani. Aside your health facility, which other areas can we walk into to get the jab?
Okay, so far, apart from our district, we have other districts also who are also involved with the vaccination campaign. So we have Ashedu Keteke, we have Ayawaso, East Ayawaso, West Ayawaso, Central. We have Okankwi and many other districts. So the campaign is not for only Korle Klottey, but for other districts. So wherever you find yourself, and when you fall within the specified category, you go there for the vaccination.
Right.
So let me add to that. Greater Accra here, we have 25 districts who are doing, only 2 districts, that's Adan East and Down, they are not doing, but 25 districts are doing. 2 districts in Central Region, that's Awutu Senya, East and West, they are doing, and then Kumasi. Aside this area, Kumasi, Metropolis, and its environs, they are doing. But aside these places, the rest of the country, they are not doing at the moment.
Right. How serious is the pandemic in your area, Mr. Omani?
The COVID-19 pandemic, our place is tagged as one of the hotspots. Our daily cases is very alarming. So even because of that, we go to the community to embark on contact tracing and then community screening for COVID. So it is one of the hotspots.
Right.
Yeah, it's hotspots. You know, what makes it more alarming in our district is that most of the testing centers are here. Which hospital, people come in a lot from different districts to come and do the test. And we have Trust, which is also located within our district. They also run a test. And other private facilities who are within the test and they are running the test. So if you look at our cases are very high, but those who reside within our district are not up to the confirmed cases that we have. So in this case, you can see, look, we have over say 5,000 or whatever thousand cases. But if you go into it, those who will reside within our district are not as many as that. Right. But in that case, that's why I was saying, because of the testing, if you test it here, you count it among the cases over here. Okay. The confirmed cases within the district. But if, like, somebody is from here and test it at Ayawaso, they will add it to their confirmed case. But later on also refer that case to us. In that case, it will be counted over there, but not here. Right. Yeah, so if you look at it in that way, you see that the number of confirmed cases, as at maybe last week, is around almost 4,000. That number maybe is around 2,000 and something that is residing. So in this case, we go in, they reside here, and we manage some, and we also manage them here. Right. That's how we count it. And you know, here is influx place, especially to do an area. People go in up and down. So it makes it more hotspot, as he said. Yeah. So that's how come here cannot be taken out. Because if you rank Greater Accra, who is second on the, even the whole Ghana, they are second in terms of the area. And then also because here is we have so many offices located within our districts, and if someone tests positive, then you have to go and sample the whole building. Right. Yes, because in that case, if you come, as the more we sample, the more the cases come, and we have been doing our best to do that. So if we work hard about testing, you see your cases jumping, and we don't also leave anybody out. We still have to try our best to.
Now, if you're just tuning in, this is the morning update, and we are on the social segment where we discuss matters that are rising and matters around you that concerns you and I. Now, I have been speaking to Ishmael Yakubu and also Daniel Amani, who are the health promoters of the Korle Klotey Hospital, and they have been telling us about the COVID and vaccination. Now, still on the COVID and vaccination discussion we have been having, we have seen that the facilities have been overwhelmed with a number of people that are trooping in to take the jab, and some are angry and also some are crossing. Does this mean that you were ill-equipped or you were ill-prepared? You were not expecting people to come in such multitudes?
When you started, you know what is causing that? Actually, you know, you are thinking that people will not patronize the vaccine initially. But that didn't demotivate us. Right. We are still prepared. You know, the videos going around, you find me, I'll not do it, me, I'll not do it, me, I'll not do it. So if you look at it, the first day, the patronage was low. People were waiting to see the reaction of people after taking it. So later in that day, you see people started coming. You understand? But that is not the one causing the problem. You know, right now, what is causing the problem is, you know, it's an international issue. So we have to indicate an app that your information will be logged in over there. So someone can, for whatever you are, you can access that particular app. Maybe if you want to travel and whatever, just key in your information. They will see everything. You have taken the vaccine. So it's the app that is currently what is causing the delay in some areas. Right. Yeah, so it's not that we are not we are not prepared, or we are yes, prepared, but it's the app that is delaying the process. Unlike because when we are doing other polio or whatever, that one is a form that you will just be taken. Right. Yeah, but this one you have to enter into an app, and it delays the process small. Right. And then also the teams that we have, I think we give us a limited team compared to the number of those they give us. So they estimated the number that okay, at least a day they should be able to vaccinate 200. Right. Yes, so that 200 will do, but the people will still be over, and everyone want to do it at early stage. So what my advice I'll give to the general public is, if you come there, you have to make sure that you are coming for something that will prevent you from dying. Yes. Yes. So have patience with it. Okay. Focus.
Okay. Now, before we wrap up, how are you monitoring the people that have taken the jab? That is, because we know that in other countries you have to take more than one dose. So how are you monitoring the ones that have taken it?
Okay. When they come, and then we give them the vaccination. There is a card. There is a card that we fill for them. So the card is like the way that when we vaccinate someone for
yellow fever,
right. There's a card. So we will fill the date, the date that the person got vaccinated. So in the next round, when the person is coming, the person will come with the card as an evidence that he or she took the first dose.
You aside the card, somebody may ask, what about if the card gets lost? That's why we are entering the information to the app. If you come, and if you just give me your phone number, if I key in, all your information will come. That will indicate that you have taken the first dose, and then you are due for the second dose.
Right.
And then the time duration, we always tell them it's 8 weeks after the first one. Yeah, so we tell them when you come for your next dose. Yeah.
All right, we're wrapping up the discussion on COVID-19 and vaccination. In the studio, I have Daniel Amani and also Ishmael Yakubu, who came to us from the Korle Klottey Hospital, and they are the promoters for the facility as well. They have said a lot. The one thing that I picked most is that when you go to the health center for your jab, please try as much as possible to maintain the social distancing that we have been talking about and we have been exercising during this tenor. This has been the social segment on the Morning Update on TV XYZ. We'll be right back, so stay tuned.
Kofi na sen haba matumi sayade bia enanka metina homa me yade yakumie
oh na den health alert clinic de yedin haba ma any organic product nko a na sayade
be ma ne oba a wo ho ayamodene monko health alert clinic
de say ye be ma wintimi mu adwuma yi menstrual disorder hypertension na say enam yade STDs wo wadwunsom yade bia ye betene te e de amount wo sanso ye massaging any physiotherapy omo wo diagnostic machines e de hwehwe de pediem sanso na ultrascan
Health Alert Organic Shop on Honumua, organic product in Kua and Omoto Honum. Shisha Chirakwai, Ewo Madina Post Office, Yewo First Atlantic Bank, no Echi Honumua, Ewo Enkrai.
Freying, Ewo 0242 518893 and now 0242 518865. Health Alert Clinic. Go Heba!
I love you. You made me the man to whom I have grown, and I will forever call you my home. Hope I can show you how much I hold you above all that I have known, so you will forever call me your own. To my moms and my pops, Mr. Mrs. Elfrida Tafa Adabla, who tell their friends and their partners my son is EL the rapper, just to make him jealous and take it further and show them my baby pictures. Ask about their kids and tell them my talent just made me different. I give them credit like I do my Twitter followers. Hallowed be thy name, oh Lord, for making me a part of this. If you know the Bible, what I they talk, will you just calm down, make you skip ahead to track 11, cause this be advanced. I'm politicking with Stephen Kwame and Nivy, homie Jay said he'd feature if we did a show, he'd keep the proceeds. I feel it's all coming together at a reasonable speed. Caffeine tablets for them rappers who've been sleeping on me. I'm blessed, Charlie, you are stressed, waiting for lunch breaks in one space. I wake up at 10, positive feng shui. Don't get me wrong, while you settle down and the sun fades, I'm in the studio laying vocals until my lungs ache. I'm not a superstar, I'm a national treasure, baby. I got chess moves for checkers players. Big disposition to win in this position I'm in, but it's hard to stay righteous.
Welcome back. This is Morning Update on TVXYZ. And of course, you can also follow us on Wezo TV. This morning, our newspaper review segment will solely be discussing the Supreme Court ruling yesterday and matters arising. We are aware that the President, Nana Akufo-Addo, is very excited. He's issued a statement that he put on his Facebook wall. We've seen videos of him and Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia watching the proceedings just before the Chief Justice finalized his conclusion on behalf of the panel that the NDC failed to convince the court and, of course, to justify why they thought nobody won more than 50%. Again, he also said that two of their witnesses, Rojo Metal Nunu and Dr. Kpesa White, actually said nothing in summary. But Asiedu Nketia managed to provide some evidence, but that was also not convincing enough. And he said the NDC must learn lessons that next time they don't take things for granted at the strong room. They can't leave the strong room just like that when they know whatever happens there is sensitive to the final details of the result to be declared. The president, former President John Dramani Mahama, is the complainant. He listened to the proceedings live in court. And at 6 p.m. yesterday, he addressed the nation, basically rejecting what the court said. I want us to listen to what he said, just to whet your appetite to walk us into the conversation. This morning, Peter Nkuma is the deputy editor of the Daily Dispatch newspaper. He's here with me. Peter, how are you?
I'm well, my brother. Good morning.
Good morning.
What's my...
Your nose mask.
Yes, but
yes.
Should be able to...
we are going to listen to John Mahama. While we are listening to him, they'll bring it.
All right.
But fortunately, the two of us are in it, so
yes.
we are protected. I've taken my jab. Have you taken your jab?
I'm taking it today.
You are taking it today?
Sure.
Okay. I hear that when you take it, your beard will be white. Are you aware?
That I'm not aware, but...
And then my other guest is Derek, Prince J. Derek, how are you?
Well, I'm good. And I'm upbeat.
How are the people of Accra?
Well, the people of Accra are hale and hearty.
Okay.
And I think peace-loving Ghanaians. So we'll welcome everything. Okay. No.
All right. Somebody will say, you people in Accra, you like bullying people. Why do they speak like that?
Well, that one is to do with the sea waves. You know,
Okay.
So how a Crimson can better explain that.
All right. And so at this stage, we want to listen to John Dramani Mahama, and then we'll open our discussions.
With the unanimous agreements of the justices of the Supreme Court. The vital part of the process to establish the truth and hold Mrs. Mensah accountable was blocked time and again by a protective cordon and firewall that I'm sure has confounded many Ghanaians. The refusal of this chairperson is in sharp contrast to the readiness with which Dr. Kwadwo Afari-Gyan, then chairman of the Electoral Commission, willingly testified in the 2013 election petition filed by then candidate Nana Akufo-Addo of the NPP. Speaking as a Ghanaian with no legal training, I believe that the refusal of the Electoral Commission chairperson to testify in this election petition leaves a very bad precedent for the future. I disagree with the suggestions of our justices that an election petition is akin to any other civil litigation, and therefore an EC chairperson whose functions go to the heart of our democracy can, by a legal sleight of hand, avoid accounting for her stewardship in an appropriate forum such as the highest court of the land. Our legal team, led by Mr. Chachuchi Kata, put together our case in a clear manner, which left no one in doubt about the issues that were at stake. Apart from seeking to ensure compliance with the Constitution and for the true choice of the people of Ghana to be respected, the petition sought to provide opportunity for transparency and accountability in the management of our electoral process. But no one who followed the proceedings of the Supreme Court will be surprised with the judgment pronounced a few hours ago. Much as I'm aware that we are legally bound by the decision of the highest court of the land, the Supreme Court of Ghana, I disagree with the process of the trial and the ruling of the court. For the avoidance of that, I say, much as I'm aware that we are legally bound by the decisions of the Supreme Court, I disagree with the process of the trial and the ruling of the court. Ladies and gentlemen, our 1992 Constitution says very directly in Article 125, Section 1, that justice emanates from the people and shall be administered in the name of the Republic by the judiciary, which shall be independent and subject only to this Constitution. I believe that law should not be an instrument for partisan purposes. I also believe that the rule of law should mean one rule for all. What anchors the rule of law is equality and fairness to all, irrespective of creed, background, or political coloration. Justice, we must remember, is rooted in moral foundations. Ghanaians will always remember that moment when my lead counsel, Mr. Chachuchi Kata, quoted from the Holy Bible, urging the justices of the Supreme Court to be faithful to their judicial oath and their conscience, only for the lawyer representing the second respondent to argue for the exclusion of God in this matter. And yet in the courts of Ghana, including the Supreme Court, we swear on the Bible or the cross, as we also do with the Holy Quran, to speak the truth and nothing but the truth. Ghanaians will also remember, and this will go into history, this 2021 election petition for that profound moment when the chairperson of the Electoral Commission opted to evade public scrutiny. Everything was done in this trial to prevent the Commission from accounting to the people in whose name they hold office. Requests for interrogatories were dismissed. A request for inspection of documents in the possession of the Commission was turned down. The request for admission of facts was ignored. And worse still, she was aided by her counsel and the court to avoid explaining to the good people of Ghana from her own testimony under oath in a properly constituted court of law the errors that she herself admits to have committed in the declaration of the 2020 presidential election results. This is a clear stab in the heart of transparency and accountability to the sovereign people of Ghana. Whatever the reasons for not allowing Mrs. Jean Mensah to testify or answer any questions, it leaves an embarrassing stain not only on our justice delivery system, but also on our nation's electoral system, which has deepened the grave doubts harbored by many Ghanaians about the true outcome of the December 2020 presidential elections. Ladies and gentlemen, the motto of Ghana's Electoral Commission is transparency, fairness, and integrity. Principles that the key actors of the Electoral Commission clearly failed to live up to on this occasion. The refusal to account to Ghanaians further sets the worrying precedent, and I do really worry about this dangerous precedent that may allow other heads of state institutions to adopt an approach of opacity and non-accountability in their work, just because they know they can rely on unconvincing interpretations of our laws to shield them from scrutiny in the near future when they are held to account. I hope and pray that time will prove me wrong. There's a famous legal maxim brought into common use by Lord Chief Justice Hewart in 1924, that justice must not only be done, but should manifestly and undoubtedly be seen to be done. While judgment was given in this petition, it cannot be said by many to have been seen to be done by the constant unanimous strictures placed on the petitioner in laying out his case. I followed the proceedings of this petition and listened to the testimony of our General Secretary, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, from beginning to end. I'm quite alarmed at the mutilation of his testimony in the Supreme Court ruling. Indeed, the ruling I heard today virtually makes our witness, Johnson Asiedu Nketia, appear like the star witness of the first and second respondents. Many answers of his testimony in cross-examination were taken out of context to create the basis for the dismissal of our election petition. At the appropriate time, the legal team will come out with detailed comments on today's judgment. Ladies and gentlemen, this case will go into the Ghana Law Reports for the future, and academics and students of law alike will clearly find befuddling the internal contradictions in our jurisprudence. The Supreme Court has given its verdict, but the national debate on the dismal state of our democracy and the increasing weakness of our state institutions has only just begun. It is time we all come together to confront those who seek to destroy the very democratic system that brought them into office. It is our patriotic duty to do so. Ladies and gentlemen, it bears reiterating that our grievances with the conduct of the 2020 elections was not limited to just the presidential elections. Doubts about the Commission's commitment to fairness and transparency have lingered much longer than the duration of this petition. The doubts have attended their every action, and rightly so, because of their posturing and sometimes duplicitous conduct. As I've alluded to in the past, the current leadership of the Commission was installed after the politically motivated removal of the previous Commission. Since then, every step they have taken has appeared to be calculated at ensuring the retention of the appointing authority in power. Aside from the compilation of a new register in the midst of a pandemic, one that many civil society organizations, political and governance experts insist was more procurement-minded than needs-based, the time-tested process of consultation and dialogue among stakeholders through the Inter-Party Advisory Committee was supplanted by unilateralism. This has not boded well for harmonious relationship with stakeholders. Compared to the two previous leaderships of the Commission, what we have now does not meet even the minimum requirement of neutrality and non-partisanship.
Welcome back. And so John Dramani Mahama spoke at length And I believe that if you go to the YouTube page or his Facebook page, you can get the full tape. TVXYZ News will be bringing you the full version of what he said later on our programming. But I told you earlier, I'm here with Peter Nkoma, the deputy editor of the Daily Dispatch newspaper, and Prince Derek Ejay. Gentlemen, let me start with you, Peter. He said a lot. He talked about, in fact, he rejected the ruling. He talked about the manipulation of one of his witnesses' statement. He talked about EC as an institution. He talked about the need to remove them because there's every evidence suggesting that they are working to please the ruling government. He also talked about the posture of the EC. And one thing he said was this ruling has raised concerns about possibility of other institutional heads who are mandated by the Constitution to report or at least be accountable to the public, who may use this as a cue to dodge public scrutiny. But he said a lot. But he concluded by saying the NDC will remain resolute, they will challenge the government, and they will come back and redeem this country from what appears to be the obsessive manipulations. This is a summary of what he said. Your comment?
Well, what I would say is that naturally, contest or when you are supporting a group, even our football clubs that we support, when you lose a contest, an election, or an event, or whatever, there is a possibility that naturally you will not be happy. Okay, it is so unpleasant to lose an election, and even football, like I said, when you lose, you become so unhappy that sometimes you are tempted to say certain things, that are not welcome. And so I will not hold much grudge with former President Mahama of what he said. But quite clearly, if I were to be an NDC member this morning, I would be very sad, be very worried. I would be very worried because the NDC went to court based on two main issues. Okay? Forget about the fact that just after the elections, we were made to believe that NDC has won the elections. And leading members of the party came out with all sort of things. In fact, some of them even said they have advised former President Mahama to declare himself president and form a power government. It's on record. Okay? Now, when you tell your supporters that you have won an elections and that you should form a power government and many others, we also saw press conferences upon press conferences where my good friend Sami Jemfi even exhibited some pink sheets that look here, ABCD has happened, blah, blah, and many others. Now, an opportunity is open for you to go to court. And you go to court based on two main issues. And I was very much interested on the issue of overvoting and pardon. Overvoting and pardon is in fact, it's a crime that should not be entertained in any elections. And so I was expecting that once they decided to go to court, and I have their petition here, I read it, and they said they were overvoting, meaning that more people even voted at some places, and there were vote pardon, where more votes were given to the MPP candidates against NDC candidates. And I was expecting that at least a certain primary record, the carbonated primary evidence, which is the pink sheet, of which every candidate and their agent at least had a copy. And so I was expecting that at least in Ablikuma West, polling station A and B, pink sheet, this is the pink sheet, as was shown to us in some constituencies in their press conferences, that A happened, B happened, and then votes were added more to Akufo-Addo's vote against Mohammed's vote, that didn't happen. They only submitted a spreadsheet indicating places that, oh, there was overvoting here, there was overvoting, there was pattern of vote here, there was pattern of vote here. And when they were asked this, they said, this is sample. Where is your core record? The primary pin sheet, where is it? It is what is in court that the court will base its judgment or will rule on. So I was surprised. And I agree with the court when they say that the two other witnesses, Dr. Pesa White and Roger Metununu. Look, last time we read Roger Metununu's statement, and I was scandalized that you sent an agent to a strong room or a coalition center to go and oversee your interest. And per his testimony, he said that since 1992, he's been going to the strong room to oversee events and the interest of the NDC. And look, in paragraph 11, okay, he said that, I quote, I must admit, I was misled by this position of the EC officials into signing the regional coalition sheet for the Ashanti region, simply because there was a signature of an agent of the petitioner, that is NDC's agent, at the regional coalition center on that sheet. I later found out from speaking with officials at the party headquarters that what had been presented on the signed coalition form was not consistent with a tally of polling station results in the Ashanti region.
Hold on. Let me come in with a question. Now, if the object is to really find out the truth,
yes,
would it be necessary?
Yes.
When the former president said it looks funny that almost all the requests made, the panel unanimously rejected all interrogatories, checking of documents, cross-examination of the EC, because that is when some of these issues would then have been determined, because you want to find the truth. And so if you hide around somebody's mistake and you assume that, yes, somebody signed and says that I was misled, can it be verified? How do you verify it?
No, you see, I will come to that. I will come to former President Mohammed's statement and others. But you see, I'm trying to address the issue of an NDC supporter out there. How they, even though it is very disappointing, they should be worried that this is what their executives and their leaders are doing. In the sense that, look, it is not only in Ashanti region alone that he said he was misled to sign. Meanwhile, the general understanding is that you are an agent there at the headquarters. What you do is that when the coalition sheet is presented to you, I mean, my friend Derek is a good friend. You know, he's a friend to my boss, so those days he used to come to our office. And he knows. He's contested an election before. Very experienced. But I was even expected that he would have been their candidate in Ablikuma West.
The man is...
He would have done so well.
He's organizing his thought to come after you.
Look, that even at the training to become an agent, you are told not to even eat food or take water
food from your opponent.
From any other, apart from your candidate or your people.
Those are the peripheries. We are looking at the substantive issues.
It is a substantive issue. The man testified in court that he was there whilst at the coalition center when the sheet was given to him. He didn't check from party headquarters and Ashanti region. He was misled to sign. And it was later that he was informed that the figure that he has signed, okay, is different from what has been declared at the region. It is not there alone, and many others. And I'm saying that these are the issues that are not relevant or related to the main issues. Forget about the fact that you said you have won the elections anyway. Okay? Then you go to court that there has been overvoting. You didn't submit one pink sheet. Meanwhile, you have. Okay, up to date. What is NDC's core figure or their collated figure that is different from what has been declared by the EC? None. Okay? Now, the main person, which is Johnson Esiedun Ketia, the General Secretary, comes to court and say that I have been cheated and I have the evidence, and my evidence, I have brought samples. Why are you conducting a research that you have indeed you have been cheated, and you have cause to believe that you have been cheated? You have the evidence. You will send the evidence to court. Meanwhile, you hold press conferences and tell us the evidence. You send samples to the court. Look, of all the calculations on the declaration itself, of all the calculations they themselves made per the cross-examination, they admitted that MPP and President Akufo-Addo won. I am saying that I will be worried that you've made me to believe something. You go to court, it is not as if you don't have the carbonated copies of the pink sheet. You have them. Why don't you submit it to court for a court?
How significant was Chachi Chikwate's argument in court that we want to cross-examine the EC so that the document we have asked her to produce, we can compare with what we have and expose what we say may have gone wrong? How significant was that comment? And if the Supreme Court will unanimously throw that one out, irrespective of that demand, and in respect of the wish for the truth to be exposed, look, how do you look at all these?
Which truth? Look, I'm not a lawyer, but I have been told that the law itself is common sense and logic. You are saying, and last time I used an example, that I am saying that you have cheated me or you have stolen my verdict or for whatever. You go and report me. I go and report you to
the police. Yeah.
Okay. And then after narrating my issues, you decided, okay, please use whatever I have brought. Use whatever I have told the prince. He should base his judgment on ruling on what I have told him. You have nothing else to add. It is not as if the EC did not respond, though. Check. The EC responded, but they said that they will not add. There's a difference. If you want an accountability from the EC,
the conversation, almost 10 minutes, it has been a reflection of what we knew happened in court.
Yes.
The former president has made specific statements.
Yes.
He's questioning why, strangely, as he put it, the Supreme Court will unanimously deny the the petitioner, the attempt to get documents, the attempt to put in interrogatories, and most especially the Supreme Court helping Jean Mensa to escape from cross-examination. And then he goes on to talk about the EC. He mentions Dr. Bosman Asare, his statement that the NDC is a threat, and so on, and all these people occupying that position, and then moves on to suggest that everything appeared to have been predetermined. I think now I can use that term.
You see, former President Mahama, most of the things he said was unrelated to the issues that was dealt with in court. Most. Okay? The SAL issue. Accountability, like I said. There's a platform, there's a forum if you want accountability from the EC. You can use. You have members of parliament. The EC come, they go there and account. And many others. Okay? He mentioned the fact that EU has said that there wasn't enough openness.
But they complained about the collation of results.
You know why? No, they didn't. In their records, what they complained about was the fact that there were too many people at the collation center. Okay? But in effect, watch this. And I quote from their...
And if you can wrap up, we've done almost 15 minutes. So that
instances of unrest and tension were observed in some collation centers. The results were collated in the presence of party agents and observers, and key transparency measures were adhered to. That's the EU. Okay? Their only point of concern was the fact that there were too many people at the collation center.
Okay, so we've done almost 12 minutes with your first submission.
Okay.
And so what I'll do is I'll give Prince some space to rebut some of the things you have said or support, and then we'll come back again to chew what will be on the table. Prince.
Well, a good morning once again to your viewers. And I'd like to first state my bias. I don't like to be a hypocrite. I was an agent for President John Dramani Mahama at Ablekuma West. And I know exactly what happened. We've dealt with some of the stuff on the set. I've shown you police reports on the night, reports that we made of ballots that were opened. In fact, there were even pink sheets which had ink disappearing. The ink on the pink sheets were disappearing. 30 minutes after they were brought from the polling stations to the collation center where we were to collate, the ink was disappearing. I wasn't in every collation center, but I can speak for what happened in Ablekuma West. The ink disappeared on the sheet. The EC returning officer, okay, came, saw, and was aware. Kodio officials were aware of all of this. So if this was widespread, you can imagine what would happen. It means you have to do guesswork or whatever else it is that you do. And that also lends itself to manipulation, because if the ink had disappeared and therefore somebody was to rely on the EC's original document, you know, the original had the real ink and the carbonated, which he was referring to, the ink was disappearing, means we have to rely on the EC and what the EC says. So if John Dramani Mahama and his legal team request to the EC to see their originals, and now I'm extrapolating from the Dansoman Coalition Center to the national point, okay? Now you need to have pink sheets. You have pink sheets, yes. Assuming that some had disappeared, you want to see the originals, because the originals will have the information. Also, there were falsification at the Coalition Center by presiding officers, and that was on the police report, where some were caught, and we had video evidence of same. Falsifying, breaking seals, and all the things that were not supposed to happen. So imagine it happened widespread. Especially where military were deployed into the coalition centers. And I was there, the military were in the coalition center. We were told military were not supposed to be there, but they were there in their numbers, armed to the teeth with their G3 rifles. In fact, in Dansuma Ablekuma West, they almost had a confrontation with the MCE, who had charged into the hall with an MPP banner, you know, waving and stuff during the coalition. Is that allowed? The police were out there, also armed.
Let's
you see, I'm saying because of the references he made and the fact that he said experienced people like myself could have done better. We had experienced agents, but the circumstances around the work that had to be done were almost impossible. And today, as we speak, the EC officials have not availed themselves to the police for investigation. So even after the election petition, if such reports were made across the country and those investigations have not been concluded, what do you expect John Mahama to do? Now, were we in search of the truth? Were we in search of a proper democracy that will grow beyond where Afarijan and Charlotte Osei left it? No. And I think that I am ashamed of the Supreme Court of Ghana. The verdict that they have given, the trial that has been conducted, has put Ghana worse off in terms of its democratic credentials, to the point where we cannot say for certain that we can have an election in this country going forward. An election that will be free, fair, and transparent without violence. Because what they have indicated by the verdict that they have given and the processes of the trial, including the allowance of Jean Adukwe Mensah to evade cross-examination or scrutiny, to give an account. And I want to beg to differ. The election petition of 2012-2013 is significantly different from the election petition of 2020-2021, in that John Dramani Mahama, His Excellency, the former President of the Republic of Ghana, did not go to seek to make himself president. He went there to seek the interest of all Ghanaians who had voted that let the chips fall where it may. Let us see what the real results are. That was the question he put before the court.
So his argument has been that, yes, you go to demand, but you should be able to justify that these are what we have.
True.
And we have every belief that what you have does not reflect.
So the court has processes, which processes were filed at the Supreme Court after an initial effort had been made at the EC office to get those materials, which the EC refused to give. Jane Adukwe Mensah as head of the EC, with Bossman Asare who claims that the NDC is an existential threat to Ghana's democracy, refused to give the NDC the documents that they requested. So the question was put to the court.
Which documents to be specific?
The original documents of the 2020 elections as pertained to the presidential poll, which would have then given us the full and proper computation, because she said she got it wrong, she computed again, she got it wrong, she computed several times, she got it wrong. And we are of the strong belief that the gentleman who was with McMahon, Joe Anochi, was the one who actually computed the results and fed the EC the results.
Your allegations?
Yes, I'll tell you why. Now, McMahon made an allegation that vote padding had been done in the favor of John Dramani Mahama. NDC said vote padding had been done in the favor of Nana Akufo-Addo. So if the two sides are confirming the fact that vote padding occurred, what is the Supreme Court's business telling us that vote padding didn't occur? The two sides are saying it happened. It is not one against the other. The two unanimously agree. So how do you unanimously agree that what they are saying is not true? If they were interested, they should have made Jean Adequate-Mensah bring the documents before the courts, because there's only one set of documents that we can all look at, and that was the source document at the EC. 1. 2 was that she was the one who was the returning officer, and she should have been put on the stand, at least, so that justice would have been seen to have been done. But now, more than half of Ghana do not believe that justice was done. In fact, the entire international community, that one not half, the entire international community believe that justice has not been done, and that a sham of a petition case has been tried. And posterity will never look kindly on those who participated in this charade, because indeed it is. And you see, that threat of contempt, I think that we must all be guarded in our utterances. However, nobody should threaten another person, especially the people of Ghana, in whose power emanates and is transferred to the executive authority, in whose power resides and is given to the parliament to exercise oversight over the executive and to extend the judiciary.
There's always a limit.
Exactly. So I'm saying that.
So when you cross that limit, that is when the threat levels are activated.
In this studio, we have not crossed the limit. At least I think that he is happy. So he will sing their praises. I am not happy. And I'll say that what they have done is a sham. A sham is not an insult. I will stop short of saying harsher words. But out there, people will say harsh words, and they're entitled to it. They are entitled to it. You see, when you see somebody being followed by a policeman or being followed by a military man, and you see somebody walking free with nobody following him, obviously the conscience that Chachu said people should be guided by is what is making them make requests of soldiers and police to guard them, when others in the same capacity as EC chair could walk free.
But Gabi put out a post recently.
Please, I don't want to talk about Gabi.
No,
Gabi
it's
is
not
another
about
story.
Gabi. The substance of
He's not worthy of my comment. I would refrain myself from.
The substance of the post he put out there was that there's been threats, open threats on the lives of those who we see being followed by security men, and so it defeats perhaps the argument that maybe their conscience.
So the threat levels warrant even armored cars and convoys of vehicles following one person, and with all the police and military in this country left out of following nurses and other civilians or other people who are giving critical services to this country. So about a battalion follows one person. Is that what the threat levels are now at? Why? That is the more reason why we're saying that this did not do even Jinensa any good service. Because if she had been allowed to say the truth, okay, and we all know the truth. In any case, we don't expect her to say the truth, but she would have committed perjury. We can take her on that. We all know what the truth is. The truth is on the face of the pink sheets. If she brought her pink sheets and there had been falsifications, we will see on the face of the pink sheets. So they didn't want to bring them.
Doesn't your reaction reflect a bitter loser
not
who
at all
has not been able to convince court, and you are just lamenting?
Not at all. I think that you saw the magnanimity with which the former president
presented his case.
Presented his case. And it's not ended. In fact, it's not ended at all. This decision phase has ended, but the next phase has just begun. And the next phase may lead us to a point, touch wood, that if there was a by-election today in this country, which EC is going to conduct it, who would have confidence in that election? And they are telling us that if you go to the polls, make sure that however it happens, that you are declared the winner. Because if you are not declared the winner, like happened in Techiman, where somebody uses A4 sheets, lose A4 sheets to declare a winner, and you have to go to the court, and you cannot trust the courts in Techiman. You cannot trust all the way to the Supreme Court. Then where do you resolve the issue? Obviously not on the streets. You resolve it at the polling station. They said what? What do you call it? You win or lose at the polling station. So they will fight at the polling station. Or worse still, they will kill themselves at the collation center. And this time they know that the military will come with guns, the police will come with guns to shoot. You think they'll come with stones? That is why they're taking this country.
Is this not an open threat?
No, please, it is not.
Maybe raising unnecessary
No, you see,
fear.
we all saw Ayawaso West war gone. And we told President Akufo-Addo, take these people on. He refused to do it. He wrote a white paper, cleared Double, cleared Diana Champon, cleared Azugu, cleared Kenal Opoku, everybody. And even presumed that these people were innocent people. And they had said it was the dress rehearsal for 2020. We have seen the dress rehearsal and we have seen the actual. Now the actual, where people even died, has there been an inquiry like Ayawaso West? The president has not even bothered to have an inquiry. And then the first deputy speaker, Joe Wise, what's his name?
Joe Sewusu.
He had the nerve and effrontery to tell Ghanaians that those people were armed robbers or criminals. Is that what it is now? Please, you see, let us value Ghanaian lives. Let us value ourselves. And let us look at posterity. If some people are too old and they feel they will die tomorrow, and so tomorrow doesn't matter, they have children, they have grandchildren. Let us do what will make Ghana survive beyond this point. That is what is at the matter.
This commentary, I think we have about 3 more minutes if you check from your time. I just want to be sure we give each of you the same space to address the issues. But the question is, the NDC may have suspected that after the Ayawaso West Wagon incident, these were going to happen because it started manifesting during the voter registration exercise.
Exactly.
Is it that the NDC trusted that the effort by the National Peace Council to get the vigilantism law passed and get the commitment, the peace accords and so on, you went to sleep assuming that things will go well?
No, what else would we have done?
Or the call that Jean Mensah and her team cannot superintend on future elections and they must go is going to be activated by the NDC going forward?
Well, you see, I'll tell you the truth. NDC did not go to sleep. NDC at every point, even with the Peace Council and all that, pointed out the fact that we did not trust the system. We saw the defects. We gave alternatives to the point where the IGP came and gave us assurances as a country that there will be no military men involved, there will be no BNI, there will be no national security. Has he resigned? Since there were military men, we saw the evidence. They were shot. People were shot. People died. Has he resigned? Has he been taken on by the president? Has he been removed? No. Now we are saying that.
But your party has just approved unanimously the renomination of many of those people who are involved in what you are raising.
We will come to the veteran. I don't want to make
But I'll give you a minute to wrap up because I have to go to Peter at this time.
That the integrity of the Electoral Commission, which is key to its function, has been removed by this election and the processes ending up in the verdict that was given. 2, the personality at the head of the EC, not just Jean Mensah, who is the returning officer, who is the #1 culprit, but the deputies, including Bosman Asari, who is a known TESCON, MPP TESCON patron of the University of Ghana, who said that the NDC is an essential threat to the Ghana's democracy.
By all this, what I find a bit interesting is that the director of elections, Dr. Sribwo Kweku, is missing. We don't know where he is, and many people would have thought that he should be speaking.
We hear there's confusion at the EC. We hear, but we don't know.
All right.
And so we live to see what will happen.
Okay, really. Peter, I think he has raised a number of very important issues.
You see, Eric, I made a point that when you lose a contest, okay, you'll be tempted to resort to all manner of reasons why you lost, blah 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 blah. Okay.
Does it suggest that there's no legitimacy in some of the arguments he has raised?
The case they sent to court is empty. Look, he made mention of Ablekuma West and issues. And last week when I came here, I even raised issues with some of the things that he talked about. Were all those issues in court for
sample?
How? My brother, you are going to court. He talks about a copy of, they wanted the original copies from the EC. They have copies. But in the court, in one of
but
their rulings,
he also said that some of the copies that came, and I'm sure you and I saw some on social media where it was difficult to read the figures.
Are we adjudicating the case on social media?
No.
If you send it to court.
If you got my question right, I'm saying that in his submission, he said that on some of the pink sheets that were made available, which all of us saw on social media, it was difficult to read some of the figures or letters.
Look, do you know that if they had sent at least all those copies, claims, Ablekuma West, all those things to court, okay, the court may have said, oh, okay, your copy, yes, you have a copy, because Aseniketa admitted that they have copies. Our copy is not that clear, so bring yours. That would have been a legitimate demand, but you admit you have copies. You don't bring yours. You are saying that they should bring original. For what? You have copies. Use it for your...
For what?
Look.
For verification.
The NDC, they know they have lost the elections. They know. And in fact, even once in court, they wrote to the EC. Okay?
That's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Please don't peddle falsehood. That thing has been debunked.
You have been here to peddle a lot of falsehood. And
no, but I'm saying that NDC, you are not the spokesperson for NDC. NDC has not written any letter claiming that somebody got a certain percentage. That thing that is out there in social media put out by the MPP propaganda wing should not make it to this set. Please.
Look.
Speak for the MPP. Don't speak for the NDC.
He's been here, okay, and he's made a lot of accusations against people.
Who?
Okay, granted that it is not even true.
Yes, it is not.
Granted it's not even true.
Yes.
The party should speak to it.
Why? You should set the agenda for us to speak.
How?
Please. Are you serious? Where's your party?
If you should see your signature on a letter, okay, going round.
Peter, do you believe that letter is true? Peter,
okay,
I can show you a signature of Akufo-Addo on a letter going around. You want to see that he has resigned? You believe that Akufo-Addo has resigned?
No.
What are you talking about?
No, okay.
Peter, move on.
Let's go to the issue that he raised, that the military were at the coalition center.
Is it true?
The military were at the coalition. Yes, but of course, look, you see,
I'm sorry. Because the falsehood, that's why I'm asking.
Frederick Ebert
Foundation,
and then it's now Stifton also.
Stifton, yeah.
Yes. What they do is that normally after every elections, they take the results, they compile all the reports from the political parties, electoral commission, security agencies, and all, and they compile a book, okay, after each and every election. And I can tell you that the military has always been part of our elections.
No, this time around, because of Ayawaso,
I'm coming. Oh, my brother. Okay?
I'm sorry.
To the extent that, in fact, we have always, okay, had integrated security, where the police, the fire, the military, okay, have collaborated in our elections. And in fact, in 2016, I want to read a report from the Frederick Ebert Foundation that where a combined task force made up of the military and the police were on standby at vantage points to respond quickly to unforeseen security threats at these identified flashpoints. Okay?
And did they say they actually activated it?
Yes. No, I'm coming.
Whether they activated it or not is immaterial.
The police and the military.
That this election will not be
quoting from the book. Okay? The police and the military.
I will do the question.
The police and the military also provided security at the various constituency coalition centers, as well as National Coalition Center at the East Head Office in Accra.
And what happened?
So the military, they have always been part of...
The argument he's raising, and Peter, allow us to interrogate it properly.
Yes.
There was an incident at Ayawaso, and that incident provoked reactions, and the fear that there could be violence at various polling stations. And so the national security steps in. And they came in at a time the Emil Short Commission had made recommendations.
Yes.
And the National Security Minister is questioned specifically that what is the assurance so that the parties involved would not take their proactive steps to defend themselves.
Who questioned them? Who questioned him?
The minister was in Parliament. I can't remember exactly who asked the question, but I can say on record that the minister gave an assurance that there will be no armed military personnel at some of these places.
Well,
what we saw and the violence that followed cannot be compared to what happened in 2016, unless you can say that what we witnessed in 2020 is either lesser or perhaps confirm that it's more. That is the concern he's raising.
No, Eric, you see, the life of human being, even if it is one, okay, died, even if one person die because of an election, it is problematic. Okay, so I wouldn't sit here and justify why 1 or 2 or 8 people died because of our elections. In fact, even in 2008, 2019, 2009, yes, I reported on issues of abolition. Okay, when after elections, some people were attacked and many people got injured, and one person even actually died. So as for violence and elections and killing and all those things, nobody should justify it. But I am saying that it is not true that the military has never been part of our elections. And President Mahama said that. Again, also, usually going into an elections, they form a security task force, normally headed by the IGP. Of course, they will have the military reps and all those things on board. This time, the military was part.
So you realize from the Frederick Ebert think tank's document, which I know I have followed over the years, that they made specific reference. The National Election Security Task Force that is set up all the years. They operate before, during, and after. The activation of the involvement of the military most of the time comes in after the elections. Listen, after the elections, when they are supposed to facilitate the post-election expected violence. But in this particular one, you realize that during the elections, we didn't see many of them actively operating at the voting centers. But they surfaced at almost all the areas where we have record of violence or protest or attempted attempts to manipulate the result. That is what is raising the concern that it defeats the assurance that was given by the National Security Minister.
No, you see, normally the military, the police, and all those other security forces, they form a task force. And you have them stationed at some vantage point. And of course, Derek knows, usually you have flashpoints where violence will naturally or sometimes do occur in our elections. So they will be stationed at some vantage point to quickly respond to some of these calls and all those things. But I'm saying that at our coalition center, this is not the first time the military.
So it was normal. So just
it was normal. I'm not justifying the killings. All those things can be investigated, and those
can be or must be.
But of course, some people are even in court.
Is it can be or must be?
It should.
So what's the president doing?
Some of them are even in court.
No, what's the president doing? The president, what is he doing about it? No, it's the president's job to set up a commission of inquiry.
Look, you see, well, your people in parliament can raise it. But I'm saying that, yes.
And who are the president in this country?
That some people are even in court over the killings.
No, that's not the point.
No, some people are in court.
We are talking about an inquiry into the president's activities.
This is the first time they've been part of our elections. I'm saying that even in the last election, 2016, they were at the coalition set, including national headquarters.
Go ahead with other submissions.
Okay,
I think you have made
and so that lie must be put aside.
You mean the one you just told? Go on.
Derek, I think.
I'm sorry.
All right.
I know he's always like that.
Because he said,
he's going to do it.
Now, what you want to know who the source is.
Never mind. He's a good friend.
Never mind. Continue.
I know him very well. And so some of this is, I'm not bothered.
Yes.
Look, the issues they took to court, the declaration itself, the figures, we all saw it. That based on the calculation by the General Secretary, even if it is calculated based on that same figures they took to court, the NPP would have still won the elections. Techiman South, you are saying that Techiman South, the EC said that Techiman South, whether added to it or not, will change the results. That's what you took to court. But at the time they went to court, Techiman South result was known. So why then didn't you add it to your petition? I have read their petition, and of all the allegations they made, none go contrary to what they've been saying outside what was sent to court. None. Professor Ahito or Dr. Ahito, he made the calculations. I was expecting that at least he would testify and to be able to do the A and B proper calculations. He rather was not sent to court to go and justify the calculation that he made.
Peter, why was NDC in court? NDC was
there are two main issues. I've talked about it.
Yeah,
the overvoting and the declaration, so-called declaration and the results. And the overvoting. Did they send any pin sheets? The overvoting and the pardon of votes. Whatever happened in Ablikma West that my brother talked about.
Okay,
will they send it to court?
Going forward,
and so you cannot.
If you listen to the issues raised by the former president, beyond what he described as the surprised posture of the court.
I'm surprised that he is surprised.
Which suggests
that's something we don't know.
No, because he is in a better position to know whether he lost or he won, and whether his people let him down or not. He knows. And so he shouldn't be surprised.
What do you expect?
The issue of Domelevo that you talked about, what has Domelevo and SAL got to do with election petition that you sent to court? What has that got to do with it?
It looks like
you are claiming that you've been cheated. In fact, someone even said you have won the elections. You go to court, you say no, but in fact, his lawyer on record to have said that they have no evidence to prove that NDC won the elections. Dr. Yene, he said it. That they have no evidence to prove that NDC won the elections.
I am looking at.
But meanwhile, then he's telling our sisters and brothers to go on the street to demonstrate.
Let's look at the way forward, because we are looking at what has happened. Your posture is, or your position is, that the NDC didn't have a case because they have failed to prove it in court.
Yes.
The former president has raised some legitimate concerns, i.e., the public perception about how the court ruled or heard the case, and the perception about institutions of state and some people taking advantage of the cover-up. I don't know.
No, use the word. It's an English word.
Not the cover-up. I don't want to use cover-up.
But a lot of things that you talked about.
Excuse me. I don't want to use cover-up. What suggested that there was a state protection of an institution of state that is accountable to the people from responding to legitimate questions. I struggle to put it together, but I believe. So going forward, he fears that other institutional heads may take advantage of it. He's talking about the EC as an institution whose credibility is dented. And I'm sure you have heard a lot of prominent Ghanaians and civil society organizations equally raise the concern about the public trust in the EC. Going forward, what do you anticipate or propose should be the way we should handle ourselves?
You see, if I should go ahead to give positions or going for the what we should be doing, then it will presuppose that I agree with what former President Mahama is saying. Okay, but I don't agree with him. What they sent to court is different from what he's telling us. Okay? And I'm saying that, yes, naturally you will not be happy, but speak to the issues. Okay? All other things that he talked about, SAL, Domelevo, any other accountability, in strict sense, they didn't go to court for an accountability.
And there's no relation.
No.
There's no relation that.
No.
Wait.
No.
Wait. EC.
If you want accountability.
Is EC accountable to the people?
Why not?
And is accountability
and they do that.
possible? Wait. Is accountability possible at the Supreme Court, where the petitioner can ask the EC to respond to certain
on
questions
specific issues
and not limited to Parliament?
No. On specific. You go to court on specifics.
Wait. I'm making a point. So he raises concern that there was an opportunity for the EC to use a platform to respond to the reasons why they thought EC must answer few questions.
And are you saying that
his complaint is that
the EC didn't respond to the issues that they raised in court?
EC didn't respond.
How? So the EC's written address and the affidavit they filed.
If EC had responded,
they responded.
I'm asking a question. Maybe you will have the opportunity to respond. EC,
but you don't engage Derek a lot when he's talking. But
I believe that when he started, you would have realized that I engaged him.
You are allowed. No, you are. Yeah, okay. Initially you allowed me, but
No problem. I'm sure you observe.
No.
I'm sure you will observe from the question. If the question makes sense, then you would find out whether it is relevant or otherwise.
Yes.
I am saying that the EC was supposed to respond to concerns. Chikata says that you have responded to my petition, but I have put in interrogatories, which will give me the space to ask some questions. I've asked for some documents, which will help me to properly scrutinize what is there. Did EC do it or not? Does it leave room for concern? And I'm asking, going forward, unless maybe you think that I am unnecessarily interrogating, and therefore the questions doesn't make sense.
Yes, I don't agree with you.
Okay.
In the sense that, yes, the court is a forum that a certain accountability can be asked from state institutions. But you go there on specifics because it is governed by rules. Okay? And so when you go there on specifics, governed by rules, you will be determined, or a ruling will be given based on that specifics that you send to court. If you want any other accountability or platform, whatever, there are forums. They know how to go about it. And he himself admitted that the case they sent to court this time is different from what was sent to court by the MPP in 2013, 2012. Okay? Because that time, they even challenged, the MPP even challenged the conduct of the elections itself and the processes. And they also challenged even the voter register. And look, Eric, if you like, next week, let's do some exercise. We should take the 3 Northern region. At that time, it was 3 Northern region. Now it's 5 regions. We should take voter region, okay, and take Western region. This, at least, and Western voter, 3 Northern region, and Brong-Ahafo. Mention every constituency. Let's look at the figures from both parliamentary and presidential. I don't have the election figures here. Next week I'll bring it. You will see that we actually use 2 registers for the elections.
2020 or 2016?
2012 elections. Okay? I'll bring the data. You can also bring yours so that you counter. Okay? That the register that was used to conduct the parliamentary was different from the register that was used to conduct the presidential. Which should not be so.
What does this mean?
It means that for the presidential, the register, there was more people who voted than those who voted in the parliamentary, which should not be so. Usually there's only one register for both elections. Because you go and vote at parliamentary, then you continue to go and vote for the presidential. This time, 2 registers were used.
Okay.
And so you realized that in declaring, a different figure was given for the parliamentary, a different figure was given for the presidential.
Well, I don't understand.
Well, I mean,
you know why I'm saying I don't understand? Maybe I will leave it open, and because you wanted to respond.
Yes,
because
my final point.
I think that the day is fast spent. Viewers please are getting a little restless with this allegation of 2 registers.
No,
because if you look at the
but he says he will prove it.
But he said next time when it comes. In 2020, just to quickly,
I've been monitoring the time he has spent speaking, almost about 11 minutes.
Yeah, just to
so you have the same time.
I use 10 seconds to just rebut his unsubstantiated 2 registers claim and different numbers voting in parliamentary and different numbers voting in presidential. Now let's go to SAL, which he takes President John Mahama on. In the case of the people of SAL, did they vote in the presidential? Did they vote in the parliamentary? This is a clear testament to what he rather is accusing people without evidence on. In the case of SAL, we all know the EC wrote to them a day before the election that they will not be allowed to vote in the parliamentary. Am I lying?
So what he said is that Mahama's statement was not specifically dealing with the Supreme Court.
No,
other issues.
No, I'm not dealing with
I'm not dealing with
the
substance.
No, I'm dealing with what he said about the 2 registers, which claim he has no evidence of. And I'm saying that it is even debunked by the reality of 2020, which we are discussing right now. In the case of SAR, where they were not allowed to vote in the parliamentary. So in the case of the parliamentary, the numbers will be different. The allegation he's making, which he hasn't gotten evidence of, is actually the reality of 2020. That which he finds absurd without even evidence confirms the absurdity of the 2020 election per the cell issue, and you are saying that President Mahama, who is looking for justice for all people, should not speak about it. But I'll put that aside. He talks about samples being sent to court as opposed to all the listen. When Georgina Wood was looking at the 77 parcels of cocaine, did they carry all 77 parcels of cocaine to the court? In fact, any time that there are cases in court, is it a case that they carry all the samples to court, or they take samples?
But I think the argument is that
you are
the petitioner and therefore go all out.
No, don't worry. No, don't worry. It's a rhetorical. Now, it's a rhetorical question, and I'm leaving it at that because it doesn't happen in the courts. So it should not be something that should be the standard, the gold standard for this court, that you should bring all samples or you don't have a case. In any case, when they went to the 2013 election petition, did they carry all pink sheets or they carried some? They carried many, but it wasn't all. So, I mean, if you didn't carry all and you carried some, it's a sample. Now, I'm saying to you that at least the sample has proven that there is a problem. It should be in the interest of the Ghanaian people for the truth to emanate from the court so that justice can be seen to have been served. And the justices refused to exercise their prerogative of doing same, which is allowed by the laws of the country. Why did they not want Jean Aduke Mensah to come into the box?
What is your suspicion?
No, I'm coming. Why didn't they? Because they themselves, when President Mahama was asking the 12 questions, which 12 questions would have laid bare all of the things that he's saying that we should have brought, including pink sheets, including this and that. Those things would have brought those things into the court domain. They told the whole country, not just the court, but they told the whole country, that's the court itself, that when it comes to the cross-examination, the John Mahama team will have that opportunity. So was the court being sincere? Was the court being sincere when they said that?
But you also heard from your own members. Have you also heard from your own members that they think that the legal team made a mistake in the first place by going to say to the court that nobody won?
No, it is strategy. I'll tell you what. You see, you can go to Circle using Accra route or Kanesh route or any other route. You arrive at Circle. It depends on your strategy. Now, they are lawyers. They are not laymen like he, myself, or you. They know the law. And who knows the law better than Chachu Chikata? He taught most of the people who were seated there as judges. He taught a number of the lawyers too. He's the topmost. He knows his stuff. And everybody who doesn't even know law understood law, during this trial. And everybody could see clearly who was right and who was underperforming. It was clear. Now, I'll say to you this very simply. That
I've just checked my time. We have about 10 minutes left.
No problem.
So if you can give us some of your time, we can do some stuff on vetting, but wrap up here.
But you see, the EC, the chairperson, set up something that she called Let the People Know, and was regularly meeting the people. What was the rationale? To put out information. So now you have been given the biggest platform in the court to tell us the truth. And because he knows she commits perjury at will. When she went to the Yawasu West Wogon, she was telling us that there were no armed marksmen. Meanwhile, we had all seen as a country the armed marksmen shooting, and the evidence was there. She was lying under oath. They were afraid that she would commit perjury. That's the only reason they kept her out. And what has happened is that now Ghana has lost an opportunity to know the truth about the election. We have an illegitimate president who is going to be in the country for 4 years.
That is contrary to what the Supreme Court is saying.
We have a section of this country that will not have representation in parliament. We have a president and his appointees who know that there will be no scrutiny if they were to be taken to court. And they will have a country that knows that because there will be no accountability to the people of the country, and you cannot resort to the court processes to get due process and justice delivered, that they may resort to other means. And that is the sad spectacle that we hold.
Unfortunately, we have about 10 minutes.
In court. No, that's all right.
Unfortunately,
I'm giving the rest of my time for the vetting. So don't go back.
This program will end at 9.
You go to court.
I want to reserve 5 minutes to do text messages.
Yes.
And so, unfortunately, I believe that this conversation has been very exciting. And irrespective of the fact that we may not have much time for conversation on the vetting, they will say something small.
Yes.
Let me start with you.
Yes.
Are you happy or otherwise about the processes that we are witnessing now? Because just this morning we understand that another set and some names that came up as persons that NDC would have loved to be kicked out have emerged to have been unanimously approved. Eslo Wusu, Godfred Dami, and so on. And we've heard the previous ones.
Yeah, very well.
Make it brief for me
very,
because
very
of
brief.
time.
I think that the vetting process has unearthed a lot of things that will have to go through other processes. Some people have lied under oath, and that's a separate process. If they are found to have indeed lied under oath, like the health minister who said the general hospital, that's just around the corner, the work is ongoing. You can just take your cameras there. Nothing is happening there. There's nothing. He's lied under oath. So if he's approved and he seems to have perjured himself, he can be removed. Alan Chairman said that he chaired a cabinet committee that told the Trade Fair Authority to work with the one who won the international competitive tender. We do know that that is also not true, but well, he has to prove by bringing a copy of the cabinet subcommittee report to prove. Otherwise, he can be removed, and so on. The defense minister, he lied about the military lands. Today, as you go there, they are grading just here. I mean, several of so the process is fine. They have unearthed, that's the vetting committee, they've done their bit. The main chamber, the voting, 265 people voted. 10 people were missing. Were they the COVID MPs? We don't know. So we need to be told why 10 people were absent. And if indeed they are the 10 COVID cases, why did Parliament allow voting to happen when 10 of the members whose votes would have been useful were not allowed to vote? They could have been allowed to vote by other means. COVID is not what do you call it? A barrier to exercising your rights or your responsibilities as a member of Parliament. We need to ask real questions. If indeed that is the case, then the first vote is problematic. Now, the second one of unanimous and so on, I don't know the basis, so I cannot comment. Okay. But we all do know, and from your concerns and the concerns of Ghanaians, that these people are not worthy of the appointment. That's why people are complaining.
No, I'm only reflecting
the views of Ghanaians.
Yes,
yeah, because the viewers saw on TV, just like they saw the Supreme Court. Now, every Ghanaian can tell who is lying and who is not. We know, for example, the EC chair is not worthy of the position. In fact, there's a petition that we have that the president is aware of to remove her. And no, I'm just saying that to remove her, and it's not been done. The same thing is with the viewing of the vetting on TV. Ghanaians have seen that also, and they know who is worthy and who is not. Kojo Apon Nkrumah, why he used insider information to not recapitalize his
look at what Kojo got. You got look at what Howard Kumson got. Mm-hmm. Which is more than the 137 for the NDC. It only reflects more or many members of the NDC adding to those votes.
No, the NDC members confirm the NDC members realized
the position.
No, it's not true. The NDC members realized that look, we've got the men, these are the men, Howard Kumson and all those people, low standard. If we do not approve them, he cannot get any new men and women to come anyway. So why waste the taxpayers' money
is that
and
sarcasm?
Oh no! Why waste taxpayers' money to have a new set of people brought? And if they are thieves, they'll bring a new set of thieves. So why waste time?
2 minutes. You've taken the.
No problem.
So take the 2 minutes.
Eric, seriously, I think that some people should be whipped.
How about
No.
He's telling you that you need to be whipped. No, that's what you are saying.
I'm not surprised that my friend Sammy Jenfu had to issue that statement to.
Which statement?
Sammy Jenfu issued it. I mean, he spoke. I mean, you can't lie. That he said Bagbin and Haruna Iddrisu and Muntaka, they have betrayed the party, and that the party gave directives to them to follow, and they've gone contrary to that, and so for that reason, they must be changed. So leadership change must happen in Parliament.
You support that?
But you see,
you support that.
I was shocked.
No, I'm saying you support that.
That wasn't a matured way of handling things.
No, I'm saying if you support it, that's fine.
We don't have much time.
I'll be happy if you support that.
We don't have much time.
Which means that he finds the approval process problematic because he knows the quality of people that approve is way below.
That's how he is. He will throw in 4 or 5 different issues to the main issue. That's how he is. I know him. But the bottom line is that we told them, and I read the Hansard here. I mean, Parliament is governed by Hansard per Article 110. That all what they were doing outside were lies.
Who?
That they have disqualified A, B, C, D. And I read the standing order 172 that appointment committee have no right to disqualify party candidate A or B.
So wrap up and let me also.
They have no right. And remember last I read it here.
Yes.
Apart from them not having right.
But you know the EC chairperson has no right not to speak.
At every meeting.
Okay.
At every vetting. You see, he's deliberate. You see, some of the reasons that they assigned
just land
has been the cause of the disqualification of some appointees.
Well, like how
okay,
like
so
you say
like
somebody.
So I'm sure.
How do you define arrogance? How? Some of them who ask questions, their posture and the questions they ask were very.
I'll formally tell you, gentlemen, just consider my age.
The viewers are very
consider
important.
my age. Let me read their text messages. Now, our seat, Zongo Pioneer in Kuma says, victory will always be for the MPP. We thank Almighty Allah for the Supreme Court's victory and the petitioner case Yamutu. And so I will just summarize some of the long messages. This one says, indeed, a very sad in the history of this country. The posture and attitude of the justice throughout the hearing of the petition is clear of a perception of majority of Ghanaians about the injustice that goes on. And it comes from Xavier Daniels, sent this message. This one says, it's long, I'll try to say, correct score. Zachariah from Sunyanyi says, President Mahama, God bless you. You are the one we all love. No matter what, we will still present you in 2024. I told you I'll try to paraphrase some of the messages you are sending so I can read as many as possible. Hi, I'm Richway, a young artist from Takrade. I'm watching your program. Thank you. This one says, please, what is actually happening? Please, I wish I could get John Mahama's contact. I'm just reading the text messages as they come because of time. JDM, your God will judge Jin Minsa and the whole of MPP and their unborn generations. From Eunice, this one says, Mustafa Loa Manya Krobo sent this. Good morning to all NDC members and sympathizers. Let's not shake for this storm. Let's stay resolute. And it goes on. It says Mustafa Loa Manya Krobo sent this. This text message says, from Eben from Kwabenya, finally 7-0 by unanimous SC have come with their predetermined verdict. And it goes on and on, talks about 9-0. Ghana will surely bounce back with good leadership. I rest my case. This one says, good morning, Eric. I'm sad day for Managana. Our democracy is dead and gone. Dennis Andaban, the village boy from Dafiama Busi Issa, sent this text message. This one says, good morning, Eric. I'm Paul from New Edubiasi. I'm very sad this morning because all the state institutions in this country has been compromised. I'll stop there. The message is clear. Good morning, Eric. I think Peter is making a strong point. The NDC must understand that they failed and they should not hide behind words to confuse us. Okay, and this one says, good morning, Eric. I'm a regular panel of your morning update and always find it difficult to come to terms with the deputy editor of your panel. Hardly has he appears to be on the show without him trying to discredit the petition. He's making some strong cases, I believe, and the NDC always has to respond. From Fuseni Dukifi Suni Turau, from Asamanka, say, please, I beg you, if I'm not able to pronounce your name properly, I understand it's a different language, and so bear with me. Good morning, Mr. Eric and your panelists. Mr. Eric, Ghana will be very, very interesting tomorrow because the unanimous Supreme Court justices have set bad precedent, and it goes on and on. I'll try to read as many as possible. I still have about 2 minutes to wrap up. This one says, NDC sometimes behave as if they are godfather members, making MPP use all means to beat us all the time. Our leaders are making the grassroots go through pains a lot. This is a complainant, send a message. This one says, Boshaba Amnesty Gos Zongo, ex-President Mahama should calm down and accept the judgment peacefully from the Supreme Court and also advise his supporters to, my regards to Evans Epoku, blah, blah, blah. And it goes on. This one says, I am down blow from Brimso Apeusika. The unanimous FC conspired with the appointing authority to rig the elections, and I think the message is clear. It's very long. I can't read all. This one says, the MPP government activists and communicators, I always say, go to court, because they know very well they have cooked the courts and posterity with John. This one is from Seth from Athenia, sent this text message. This one says, hello and good morning to you and your viewers. Frankly speaking, I'm not happy about the Supreme Court ruling, and it goes on and on. This text message says, good morning, XYZ. Please kindly ask the NDC man what exactly did they go to court with. 2, do you go to farm with your hoe? Please, it was straight victory for MPP. The NDC, 2 witnesses, did not do anything good for former President Mahama. They should better keep quiet. This from John in Volta region sent this text message. This one says, please don't allow Peter to peddle falsehood and figures. Akoto Ampos created figures. There is a video clip going around that he doesn't want to use the EC figures in court. This one was sent from Ato. I have 3 more messages. I beg your pardon. At this moment, we can only sigh in absolute charging over the conduct of our parliamentarians, that's NDC MP, on the night of voting for confirmation of ministerial appointees. Don't worry. At the appropriate time, parliamentary primaries will resolve this. This one is from Bogresi Sharif, General Secretary, Better GH Youth Association, Tamale Central Constituency, sent this. I have 2 more to go. Producers, bear with me. God is watching Akufo-Addo, and Lord will give the original justice sooner than later. Joseph Kumase Amakum sent this message. It's 9 o'clock. They are chasing me. We are wrapping up. The NDC went to court for propaganda and mischief, but now law has, but not law. Hence, they lost big time. No name. Last one says the court ruling and reaction from former President John Mahama was no need in any point. If the NDC had proved their case, I certainly think that it would have compelled the EC chair to testify. So many text messages today. I tried my best. Sometimes it's painful that the people participate in the program and they don't have time to read this. I think it's a good suggestion.
Yeah,
we'll do that so that as we speak, it will be scrolling.
Yeah.
It's a technical issue. I don't understand it better, so I will speak to them about it.
On your Facebook page, they can enter it in, so it's recorded alongside the program.
Yes, that one is done. So I think we'll improve on what you have suggested. So, Peter Ankoma,
yeah, my brother,
people have enjoyed you. Thank you very much.
I think that NDC should start asking their leaders questions.
No, why is he trying to incite? He's trying to incite.
That is the NDC. When we need this set, we have 2 programs coming up next.
They will not follow your instructions.
Gentlemen, don't worry. I try to equip you with my age. You know I'm older than you.
No, but NDC supporters will not take instructions from you.
No, I'm not saying that.
So, Nana Buna continues. We have been given some opportunity to extend the time till 9:30. JKD, not you, will be here for entertainment. And of course, tomorrow is Independence Day. We'll be having some conversation on that. See you.
Can you imagine?
Yes, bye-bye for now.
That's cute, Tim.
No, yeah.
Medasi.
They call you Jide. Jam rhythm. Rockstar. DJ Camila, drop the song, make we dance. Oh, DJ Camila, drop the song, make we dance. Yeah. Where the party there today?
Not darling.
Hey mama, hey I ever say.
Not darling.
Shake your body, man, ya corner.
Not darling.
Hey mama, hey I ever say.
Not darling.
So where the party there today?
Not darling.
Hey mama, hey I ever say.
Not darling.
Shake your body, man, ya corner.
Not darling.
Hey mama, hey I ever say.
Not darling.
You make that for no reason. Don't you know, say this be our season. Did the pray make us walk? Kai, you dreaming? I'm better now, yeah. You make that for no reason. Don't you know, say this be our season. Did the pray make us walk? Kai, you dreaming? I'm better now, yeah. Wusuna mi yo. Chansumo, Wususu crew and Bemo. Don't you know, say God in control? Yeah. Nanke better now, yeah.
Medasi.
Where the party there today?
Not darling.
Hey mama, hey I ever say.
Not darling.
Shake your body, man, ya corner.
Not darling.
Hey mama, hey I ever say.
Not darling.
So where the party there? day today. Lord, Lord, hey mama, I will say, Lord, Lord, shake your body, man, ya corner. Lord, Lord, hey mama, I will say, Lord,
I'm going in. Hey, my time to brave. Into oda. Social media pressure, Jaimini and Yampa. I saw from try it. Yes, the bank waba. Who want to pay me a tune? We are so bien shawasa. My pocket, Missika de Coquasa, say, Obian in Kam, Toma, Papa, ye, Obi Pondasi. Ayo, a bravo, a tiny, better than a compo. What package ya and fa? Is it by force to speak some brofo? Yeah, fancy boy. A virgin, what's what ya bedding? Okro, we're watching the landing, and you teatio, my brethren. And to forget me in Diasa, forget me in Diasa, no Biadeka, forget me in Diasa, yes, killed sin.
What a party day today, hey mama, I will say, shake your body, man, ya corner. Hey mama, I will say, so what a party day today. Hey mama, I will say, shake your body, man, ya corner. Hey mama, I will say, oh yeah.
Gotcha. Medas.
I am on my I will say.
Oh, the studio was on fire. But as always, JKD was just standing and not dancing. But I was, and I know that you were dancing. There's no way you will not dance to this tune. It's one of my favorite tunes, and I love it. JKD is here, as I mentioned, because today is Friday, and he's got us covered with our entertainment story. So, JKD, what's happening?
Copying me like that?
Me?
When I wear black,
excuse me, I saw you in my wardrobe last night.
You wear green.
I saw you in my wardrobe last night.
Why?
Before you do what you have to do, I'm sure you see a very beautiful lady before JKD popped up on the screen and started accusing me of things I do not know about.
I'm a beautiful man.
So yes, we have in the studios today Miss Juliet Ya Asantua Asante. I like Ya Asantua. She says I should call her Ya Asantua. I know her as the founder, the CEO for Black Star Film Festival. Yes?
Festival. The
Black
founder,
Star,
not the CEO.
So the founder.
Right.
Founder for Black Star Film International Film Festival.
Yes.
But she's also the executive director for the national, the executive director for the National Film Authority. And today we'll be discussing, because tomorrow is Independence, we want to backtrack a little and see if we have gone forward or backwards. So we'll be talking about whether or not Kwame Nkrumah's vision for the film industry is still outstanding. But before that, JKD, what do you have for us?
Okay, so I'm very excited that she's here today.
Yes, I am excited too. Did you see me? I was dancing.
Yeah, because we need to talk about film.
Oh, yes.
Yes, coming to America and all those things. And
we will talk about
we'll talk about film. But yeah, we'll talk about Ghana too as well. But starting off for today, last week I started off on a bad note. On a sad note. Today I'm starting on a sad note.
So that's why you were
stiff. Yes. So fine. I'll tell you much more about my dancing skills after. But we've lost a very good friend, a very good brother in the industry. His name is DJ. In fact, everybody know him as DJ Advisor. Yes, so we've lost him. That was yesterday, unfortunately. Condolences to his family and to everybody who loved DJ Advisor. I know definitely. I mean, this is just to say sorry and.
To the entire nation. Actually.
To the entire nation, because he's one of the pioneers when it comes to playing of music, Ghanaian music. You get it, promoting Ghanaian music in any way possible. You find DJ Advisor doing so. So we've actually lost somebody. We've lost him. Anyways, moving on. Well, let's talk about Adina And
why are you shaking? You move. Why are you so stiff? We've spoken
why are you shaking about Adina?
Celebrate the living.
Well, singer Adina Thembi has had surgery for fibroids, and she took to social media exactly 2 weeks ago. Today, I checked into Tema Women's Hospital to undergo surgery to have fibroids removed. A huge thanks to the surgeons, doctors, and hospital staff for making the process more relaxed than I thought it would be. So for those of you who've been asking questions where Adina has been, I mean, off screen, not been seeing her performing here and there, this was the reason why she was yes, woman. But she's strong, and she's out of the hospital, and we're excited about it.
We are. Now, still speaking on hospitals, again, please, to avoid certain situations from happening, visit Health Alert Clinic and get yourself tested. You can have your ultra scan, you can have a massage and physiotherapy. They use machine treatment. And I say this all the time. Once you go there, they don't just leave you to go. They take your number, your email, they communicate with you, they check up on you to see where you've gotten to in terms of the treatment. So please try as much as possible to visit Health Alert Clinic for any of your chronic diseases or whatever you're feeling in your system. Even if you feel your hair is breaking, please pass by. They will check it for you. And they use purely herbal medicine. Pure. So you can go there as well. They'll check your stiffness. You need to dance.
Madam. You're using me for an example. All right, so Hammer of the Last Two is in the news too as well. So veteran Ghanaian music producer Edward Nana Poku, popularly known as Hammer, says he feels guilty that at the prime of his career he did not contribute to putting the right structures in place for music producers. He said during their days the only person that paid attention to royalty splits between musicians and producers was J So, and this comes as a result of the banter between MOG, who happens to be a beat producer, and Shatta Wale. So over the past week, they were going back and forth. MOG was like, Charlie, you know, pay me for some beats, you know. Shatta Wale was like, I'll give you some 100 Ghana, Charlie. And people were just on social media buzzing each other, you know, about how best music producers can profit from, you know, the music that they actually produce out there, because they're part of it. I'll give you a clear example. Guilty Beats. You get me. Guilty Beats was part of, you know, Beyonce's whole kid about album too as well. So, well, I feel it's about time that they get educated
because of his beats. I mean, just go.
And people were out there saying that, oh, the reason why because Shatta said MOG beats no hits. So people.
So he's blaming his not his songs.
It's just crazy. But it's about time we have you know, structures put in place so that people could, you know, get educated about it. Yeah.
Speaking of structures,
should we move to the film?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I like that part. I like it a lot.
Why do you like it? Because you're an actress. Yes, so we understand.
Oh, because it concerns you and it concerns me. So don't put this on me alone.
All right.
We are about to start our discussions in connection to the Ghana film industry. And like I said earlier, if indeed Kwame Nkrumah's vision for the industry is still being upheld. And this morning, I am talking to Miss Ya Asantewaa. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. She's
Ya Asantewaa.
Yes.
Saving the film
she's ready. She's ready for us, but we are ready for it.
All right, sure.
So please, Ms. Asantewaa, one of the reasons why Nkrumah actually upheld the movie industry was because he felt that it was a good way to build the nation and to maintain our cultures, you know, etc., etc. Do you think that the Ghana movie industry today is upholding that vision?
Well, the Ghana movie industry has come a long way. And like anything, you know, there's ebbs and flow.
True.
Even if you start on a good note and you don't maintain, you know, you are likely to go down. So we've gone through cycles. There's been ups and downs in the past. And let's just say that at presently we are in one of those downs. But the good thing is that there's a new opportunity.
Right.
The question then is, how do we take advantage of that opportunity and go back? Because the thing with a good vision is that it never expires.
True.
You know, you can be sidetracked and all of that, but if you get your act together, it never expires. And I think that as a people, you know, as Ghanaian, I always say that, you know, Kwame Nkrumah was a Ghanaian. So the seed that was within him is within us as well. How do we activate that seed?
Do we do that?
How do we get the right people in the right places who understand, you know, because we are now in a very fluid world. The world is so different from the world he used to be in, even though there's so many similarities, and if we had built those structures, it would have carried us through.
Yeah.
But the world is changing. The world is fluid. What is there yesterday is no longer there today. So as a leader, one has to be as fluid in thinking. You almost have to think on your feet.
Right.
And also mindful that in other jurisdictions, they do have the resources to back the thinking and vision immediately it happens. For us, by the time we come up with the resources, then the situation has changed already, and you have to read. So it's just a constantly revolving situation.
Right.
But I think that there's still hope for the future.
Right. I'm happy you said there is still hope. So with regards to having hope, or with regards to us still having hope, what is the NFA doing about such situations?
Right. Before you can solve a problem, first of all, you need to accept that there's a problem.
Yes.
And
Which we
then,
accept.
you know, and then you have to you have to backtrack. You have to backtrack and strategize. I'm not someone who just starts to run. I usually used to like to step back and look at the situation and understand that, you know, something that may be okay for one situation may not be okay for the other situation. And so when the NFA was inaugurated, which is just about a year ago, sometimes we forget that at the NFA, if anybody who is watching, is the National Film Authority, is just about a year old. The first thing that we did was to set up, you know, to step back and then come up with an overall strategy. And that strategy recognizes that, one, locally there's a gap. There's resource gap. There's infrastructure gap, there's capacity gap, there's branding gap. There's all these gaps that we ourselves have to fill. So how do we bring that up? And then look at the bigger picture. When you look at the global storytelling terrain, what roles are we playing? Are we able to, you know, tell our stories internationally? Are we able to attract the international market? What are the opportunities within this market? I mean, we have great locations. We do have skill sets. We have a over 40-year-old school. Not many African countries have that. So we have a lot of things. We have a good economy, democracy and all of those things. You can bring your money. Well, that's another conversation, but you know, you can bring your money in and out. These are things that we may even have that our neighbors do not have. The question is, how do we recognize that these are the strengths? How do we recognize where the deficiencies are? How do we close that? And how do we bring that together? So our strategy is multi-pronged. One, bringing the local sector up to meet international standards, and then making Ghana an attractive business location for co-productions. And our goal ultimately is to set Ghana up as a film hub, and that's what we are on track to do.
Okay. All right. So now you have spoken about the core mandates.
Right.
What has been the challenges so far in regards to implementing these mandates?
Right. So the core mandate is really big. I mean, I can't even go into it. The NFA, a lot of people have said they haven't seen a lot of government agencies that have such broad mandates. I mean, we are supposed to streamline from beginning to end, including marketing, distribution, everything, you know, policy, everything together. We are supposed to kind of look at that. Your question is, what are the challenges? First, we are very new. We were set up differently in that many agencies, before they set up under a ministry. The structures are put in place, because it's just like you are setting up a new company. When you are setting up a new company, you need to register the company, you need to employ, you need to put in logistics, you need an office, you need to get into this. I mean, even for a private business, people don't realize that setting up government business is equally, if not more, in fact, I would say more complicated, because there's policy, you know, the other institutions you have to deal with, and all of those things. So usually most agencies start under a ministry. work with the ministry, develop the wings and foundation in the ministry, and then, you know, so all of the things are set up. You are registered in the GiveMe system, you've done this, you've gone through your staffing, you know, at Public Service Commission, you've done all of these things. You are in the budget of the ministry and all of that. Now, we didn't start like that. First of all, we were set up in between budgets. So budgets have been read, and, you know, but people are accountable to budgets. You can't do a budget, somebody is not registered in the budget, then you go and take money and give it to the person. I mean, accountability and all that, and purpose of the money and all that. So we were set up in between budgets. Two, we were not set up under the ministry. We were pretty much, because we advocated, which is a good thing. I mean, if a child is just told run, there's a certain advantage to that.
Right.
But what you recognize is, if you haven't trained a child and you say run, there may be falls, there may be gaps, it may take longer time. You know, who do you go to when you have issues? You have to figure out everything yourself. Nobody knows what you're doing. You yourself, you don't know, you know. So all of those issues, and so we were set up that way. We advocated, which was a good thing. We were set up, but we were set up and pretty much told to run when we hadn't crawled and we hadn't walked. And myself, I'm quite new to the public service, but even in the public service, not many people, many agencies are not formed the way we are formed. So there's nobody to say, yes, Antoine, this is what you have to do first, second, third, fourth, fifth. You have to figure it out all yourself. And then without a structure, without setting up those things, you cannot operate. You know, we operate within the ministry. You have to operate according to the way government operations go, and people usually think that the operation of a government institution is like a private institution, which is not necessarily like that. So we've had all of those challenges, but I always like to focus on what was moving forward. Moving forward, the good thing is we've done all of those things. We've set up. We've been giving the mandate to hire people. We are now in the system and all that. Will be captured in the budget. Our strategy is on course. Even with all the issues I mentioned, we still, if you've looked at our annual report, we still achieved quite a bit. And those things are basically foundation. Let me just take the opportunity to say that when you are building a house, the foundation is the most important. Is the part that you have to do the best, or else the tree will not, the house will not hold. However, nobody sees the foundation, nobody sees the kind of cement, nobody sees anything. The foundation is what happens behind closed doors. And so if somebody is building a 20-story building, and for 10 months they are all, you see them, they go in, but nothing is coming up, you think they are not doing anything. But without a proper foundation, the house will come up beautifully and it will just crumple. So let's just say that we spent the last 1 year and still are doing so, building a good foundation, because we want an institution that can serve the country for a long time. I'm not interested in something fancy because I want everybody to see the house very quickly. The foundation is important, and we've been doing that, and now we are ready to build the house, so to speak.
I can see, JKD. Interesting. You have a question before I ask my next question.
Just to mention, you know, the Minister Designate for Tourism, Culture and Arts. Yes, of course. He made some key revelations. When I come to power, this is what's happening, especially with the film industry. What is, in response to that, what is the NFA, you know, coming up with, or how would the NFA position itself?
Here that the Creative Arts received 50 million cedis?
Well, that did not come to the NFA, so I'm not going to speak to that because, you know, the Creative Arts is in charge of the entire creative space. And our mandate is quite different. So we certainly did not manage that, so I can't speak to it. However, what I can say is that the minister, even before he went for vetting, and that was great, he consulted with all the agencies. I can say that he consulted with, we sat down.
Because did you see how he was answering the question?
Yes.
He seemed very well equipped to meet them.
Exactly. He understands that it is a resource problem, which is important. He understands the structures. So he listened, and for me, that's a good sign of a good leader. So he listened, and a lot of his responses were based on things we discussed and the interventions that are necessary. We are focused on making Ghana a film hub, and if you listen to his vetting, he mentioned that quite a number of times. Now, what goes into making that possible, I've briefly outlined it here, but that's what we are working on. So everything we work on is strategic towards that goal. You have to connect the dots, especially when the problem is so large. you have to find pillars and then build those pillars and then connect the dots, and then it meets at the top. Once that happens, everything else just flows. And I can say that that's what every project that we've done so far and every project that we've planned is really geared towards connecting the dots. I understand that somebody who doesn't have a bird's eye view may not understand what we are doing, but we are doing this because we know what we are doing. We are in the position because we are qualified for the position, and and we know what we are doing, and we've put out a strategy which has been broadly accepted, which is globally, that's where the world is going. And I don't think one would want me in this position to take Ghana in a different direction when the world is going in another direction. Right. And I think that's exactly what we are focused on.
You see,
so
I was lying down.
$20 million film studio is feasible.
Yes,
so
it is feasible.
Settled, right?
And see, to be honest with you, I am tempted to believe Dr. Awal because of the way he spoke. He would speak, answer the question, turn his mic off, and be like, "Yeah, I will do it."
I know what I'm about.
Yes, I know what I'm talking about. So I'm waiting for him to implement all the things that he said. I have jotted them down.
My thing is action.
I have jotted them down.
Everything is action. So
one thing is, I was lying down when I got a call from one producer, and then he says, "Diva, have you heard what is happening? I see some posters flying around on social media. The NFA is saying they are trying to get a brand name for the industry. How is this even necessary? Don't you think this is a ploy for them to cash out what the government has allocated to us? Basically just misuse the funds. This is not necessary. Why is this coming up?"
First of all, I don't know what funds. Like I already said that we were set up in between budget. We were set up in between budget. I mean, this is not where I'm going to come and talk about what happens, but we have not been funded. I mean, to put it bluntly, I haven't even been paid for the entire year I've worked, for the agency. Right. None of my staff has been paid. We haven't been resourced. Not because the will is not there, but because we were set up in between budgets, and goes to what I was telling you about. If you're not set up in the system, how will you get paid by controller? Yeah. I mean, if you haven't done this, so if you don't have an office, how do you get computers to work in the office? So short answer. We have not been funded. Right. I mean, we have been.
So this is not being done because we want to spend our money. What prompted?
In fact, I want to take the opportunity to commend my staff, because everybody has worked with their own resources, and we know how difficult the last year has been, and everybody has worked from their personal pockets, and we've taken money out and put it on the table. Let's use this to buy papers. Let's use this to buy that. So I'm someone who likes to express gratitude, so I want to take the platform to thank my small team who work like they're 100 people, but they're only about 5 to 6 people. So we need to be grateful for that. But first of all, you see, unless one doesn't understand marketing and branding and launching, we've just said that we want to make Ghana a film hub. Where do you start? How are you recognized? How are you perceived? What's the perception in the market? I mean, Unilever can decide today that they're going to rebrand the company, and because of maybe the market has changed, maybe the needs have changed. And also, this is so important that it has to be a collective effort. So first of all, people make the argument, and rightly so, that is known as the Ghana film industry. Nobody is challenging that. I mean, that's the status quo. If you go to any country, their industry is known as the Nigerian film industry, the Kenyan film industry, the whatever industry. But then, what is a brand? I'm not going to go into marketing lectures and all that. And you'll notice that even on the panel, we have the head of marketing, CIMG, on the panel. Right. And interestingly, go to Netflix right now. And I say this because I said that we are in a fluid world. Yes. They don't have Nigerian film. They have Nollywood. Yeah. Are we saying there's no Nigerian film? And you see how that has propelled the conversation. Go and see whether you can get Ghana film or Ghana whatever and all. But that's on the side.
Not to cut you back. Please just try to wrap it up in 30 seconds.
Right. So that is on the side. A name is so important because it captures who you are. It captures where you are trying to go. It captures where you are now. It captures your vision. So who are we? Where do we want to go? That's the importance of a brand. And also, it's important that we do that as a collective. Not that one person sits somewhere and decides one day that the Ghana film industry is going to be called this. So we opened up and everybody sent in names. So we got over 400 names. Why didn't people say at that time that people shouldn't send in names? So if they didn't send their names, then they lost the opportunity. And we have qualified people. The head of communications, the dean of communications at Legon is the head, the chair of the committee. People who understand the importance of branding. MultiChoice have approached us that they need a name to identify the Ghana film industry, and so many other platforms who we are working with say that they can't just put Ghana film industry there. So people talk out of not knowing what is really happening, and they can be pardoned for speaking because they don't understand what is happening.
As it stands, we do not have a name, do we?
Well, I would not say that. Look, there's nothing like you can't call something by a symbol, except Prince, who called himself by a symbol. So if you don't, nature abhors a vacuum. If there's a vacuum, something will fail. So there's a name that we call ourselves. But the question is, was it a deliberate name? Did you intentionally, did your parents intentionally give you that name? Or because you were walking around without a name?
It was getting interesting.
I do not recognize the name.
We'll bring her back. We'll bring her back and have the discussions again. Definitely. So we have been talking to Mezia Asantewaa with regards to Nkrumah's vision for the movie industry, and if indeed it's opposed. This has been the morning update on TV XYZ. I did this with Eric Ahianyo and of course JKD. See you again on Monday.